W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
It's Kevin and Query.
I throw, you catch. It's not that hard, okay? All right, get the out of here.
I'm going to talk a lot about drills and fundamentals.
Watch it, watch it, watch it, watch it.
On 93.5
Watch it.
and 107.5.
Boom, baby.
The Fan.
Arkansas shocks the world.
Whoa. Jake, tell me more.
Woo, pig suey. Arkansas shocks the world.
God, I love Villanova. It is a 1-point spread, Arizona. We got 20 seconds. Mark?
Houston wins.
There's a 1C going down for Mark. Straight to Vegas, you two.
And you?
Yeah, you had Villanova. That was good.
Well, I mean,
Come on now. Give yourself some credit. Stupid Duke screwed me out of a 4-leg parlay yesterday. Come on, Coach K.
that was a hell of a
Hang
game.
it up.
Though. Hell of a game. One seed left, Jake Query.
I looked it up, and somebody asked this question. When was the last time, if it had happened at all, that only one seed made it to the Elite Eight? And I'm sure it's happened more than just this, but when I got to thinking about it, I'm like, that year that Wichita State went to the Final Four, if I recall, and I looked it up, and Louisville, in fact, was the only 1 seed in the regional finals that year. Louisville won it all. Of course, now it's vacated, so you
So
can't.
that was Louisville, Michigan?
Correct. Louisville, Michigan, Kentucky, maybe, and Wichita State. But they all start to run together to me after a while. Kansas might have been there, actually. But at any rate, there was only 1 seed in the regional final, and that was Louisville. Indiana was a 1 seed that year. They got beat by Syracuse. But last night, I'm telling you, Kevin, the one thing I learned last night in watching games once again is, for the most part, if you've got, and I had said that I thought Memphis was going to be this team. Houston took Memphis' spot in this regard, although Houston's not a huge Cinderella. They've been good all year. But if you've got 5 guys that can just swarm the basketball and then quickly move it around and pull up from anywhere at any given time, you just wreak havoc. And what Houston did last night and what Arkansas did last night, both of them, is they established the tempo and set the tone against the 2 number 1s. And Arizona and Gonzaga were both on their heels. It's a good night of basketball.
It was a great night, Jake. I get a workout watching Houston play basketball.
You're not kidding, man.
Holy hell, man.
I know.
I mean, Jamie Erdahl last night, the sideline reporter for whatever channel the game was on, CBS, TBS, she goes, yesterday during the open practice, I'm sure you've been to some of these open practices.
Yep.
You know, the day before an NCAA tournament game. They are what? Glorified, like, just shoot-arounds, walkthroughs? I mean,
Oh, yeah. The public ones for sure.
That's what I'm talking about. Very laid back. Jamie Erdahl's like, Houston is running full sprints and gassers yesterday in front of their fan base at these open practices, and yet the relentless nature that they play with. In a way, Jake, I'm watching it last night, I'm thinking, this is a bit Purdue-like in this sense. I've said all along, and the reason why I picked Purdue to win it all, I think once Purdue gets in the tournament, there's such a foreign matchup for all these teams. I think Houston is that as well, in a much different way. You're not used to them. You're not used to anybody in college basketball playing that
Correct.
relentless for 40 minutes, and if they get the right whistle, they can keep teams off the foul line. And boy, tomorrow night, I think it's the first game, 6 o'clock, Villanova and Houston. Those are the 2 toughest teams left in this tournament.
It's funny you mentioned that. And good morning to you, by the way. That is Kevin Bowen. I'm Jake Query. This is Kevin and Query. By the way, do you know there's a Kevin Query that lives here in town?
No way.
I kid you not. I'm going to look it up. Somebody sent me.
I don't buy that.
I you would think, right?
And how has he not shown his face? Or do you think there's a reason why he hasn't shown his
He's
face?
in witness protection right now.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Next thing you're going to tell me is, he's got a pet peacock and a pet razorback.
That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's Kevin Bowen. I am Jake Query. Mark Dykton is that sound you hear from the Peacock. It is Kevin and Query here on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan. I thought about this morning, Kevin, in the fact of, you think about Syracuse. Syracuse comes to mind for me. Syracuse, like every 3 or 4 years under Jim Boeheim, will have a team that's like a 6 seed that suddenly gets to the Final Four seemingly out of nowhere, but it's because they play a style with their zone that nobody outside their conference is used to seeing. And you saw what happened like with Tom Crean's best Indiana team. It just knocks people for a loop. And that's what happens with Houston. Like, I was thinking to myself, if you could just come up with a style of play that is unique to you, yeah, your conference might figure it out, and you got to get through your conference. But then once you get in the tournament, man.
So true. I mean, I felt like when Arizona got an open look, Jake, they looked like me during knockout. You know, it was one of those rare things of like, oh my gosh, I'm wide open. Gotta shoot it. And just like, you know, they're just so nervous for a team that, you know, scores 80, seemingly falling out of bed. We didn't get the final minute, maybe buzzer beater, but I thought all 4 games in their own right, really good. How about Duke not missing a shot in the final 9 minutes of the game?
They knew that Mark Dyke didn't have money on it. Right, Mark?
That's one way to put it.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks for reminding me.
All those Duke freshmen last night, Paulo Banchero with 22 points. The more I watch him, Jake, the more I think he will be the safest pick.
Really good.
In the top 5.
Jabari Smith's pretty good, but he's really good.
There's just a maturity about him as a scorer that, again, it's not Carmelo Anthony-like, but there is, you know, some similarities I see there. Watching Arkansas, correct me if I'm wrong, Jake, last year at this time, was the name Eric Musselman ever thrown around in Bloomington?
I vaguely recall it, honestly. Now, that's not to say that he was a candidate.
Right.
But I vaguely recall people saying, like, man, should they go out and get Eric Musselman?
Because they made the Elite Eight last year.
Correct.
You know, here.
He'd coach. I mean, there's no doubt. And he has an NBA background.
And Gonzaga, the thing all year long with them was I felt like we kind of overlooked them losing Jalen Suggs. And remember the Ajayi kid that they had last year as well? He was another pretty good guard.
Right.
I mean, like, in March, you know, it's guards. And how good Drew Timme was last night, they still had an inability to get it done from the back.
And Holmgren had some, you know, he hit a rhythm there where his...
God, good luck to the team that drafts him.
Yeah, I mean...
That's going to take a lot of convincing. There's just a lot... I just think there's so much boom and bust.
He does have a Sean Bradley type feel, doesn't he?
And I know he's had, you know, good games against quality competition this year, Jake, but a bit of a disappearing act against Arkansas and then Memphis as well here in the tournament. So Saturday's Elite Eight matchups. Houston-Villanova at 6:09, Duke-Arkansas at 8:49. Any guesses to the early lines on those 2 games, Jake?
Okay. The early line in those games, you said for Saturday, right? I'm going to say that
Houston-Villanova, kind of a pseudo home game. I don't know. Houston had a lot of fans in San Antonio last
Did you
night.
notice, by the way, where was Michigan playing?
That was the South region, so that would have been San Antonio.
Plenty of good seats. Did you notice that when Michigan was playing?
Right, so it was Villanova, Michigan, Houston, Arizona. I don't know if the Houston-Arizona crowd was late trickling in.
That might have been it because I saw a lot of red. But I will say that Villanova is a 2-point favorite over Houston.
The Cougars favored by 2.5.
Okay, that's not totally surprising. I was going off seeds there. It does feel like Houston's kind of rolling. I'm going to say Arkansas is favored by 2.5 over Duke.
Flip it again. Duke 3.5.
Really? Okay. Well, shows what I know. Although I did predict.
I was going to say, you had both the 1 seeds going out. So
come on.
You got the last laugh there. And you know what? With Gonzaga going down, the bracket continues to open up for Matt Painter's Boilers. I know no one, Purdue-wise is looking that far down the road, but if Purdue is to play on the first Monday in April, they will not have to beat a number 1 seed to get there. And
Boy,
Duke
you're not kidding.
might be the only 2 seed.
You're not kidding. Although I think Arkansas would be a really tough matchup. I think Arkansas is really good.
God, I had Arkansas going out early.
I loved Arkansas when
Gonzaga's guards were so bad, Jake. 5 of 21 from the field, their guards. 15 turnovers, 9 assists.
I did see a tweet. People jumped all over the guy for being insensitive that just said, "Drive home safely, Mark Few."
Ooh, boy. Yeah, I saw another tweet of the adversity that Mark Few and Juwan Howard's teams went through, I guess, hit a wall at some point.
Oh, wow.
Oh, this is awkward.
Yeah.
Wow.
So here we are, halfway through the Sweet 16, and of the top 6 overall seeds, entering the tournament. Only Kansas is left.
Kansas is the one. I mean, if you're Kansas, boy, you want to talk about easy street here. Rock Chalk Jayhawk. If you're Kansas.
Hey, tell that to Ed Cooley's bunch tonight.
I understand, but if you are Kansas, the only thing standing between you and playing in the national championship game, Providence, and then Iowa State or Miami, Houston or Villanova.
You would have signed up for that earlier in the year.
You would absolutely sign up for that. And then in the title game.
And Purdue fans would have signed up for their draw right now.
Yeah, I mean, Rock Chalk, man, Kansas has got to be happy. Now, Kansas is playing Providence, and keep in mind that the best Kansas team that I've seen, I think probably in my lifetime, got knocked out by Rhode Island. So, stranger things have happened, right?
So tonight's lineup, Purdue and St. Peter's, 7:09. We'll get a lot more into Purdue's matchup and where things stand for them. And then the 7:39, or I guess 7:29 tip will be Kansas and Providence, and then the nightcaps tonight will be North Carolina, UCLA. I'm really looking forward to that one.
God, you're not kidding. That's going to be a great game.
And then Miami, Iowa State. So, Jake, correct me if I'm wrong, but the winner of Iowa State, Miami, that will be our double-digit seed winner of the numbers we gave away.
That's correct.
Because Michigan lost.
Which means, hold on, I got to find my sheet. Hang on.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I keep on. Gosh, how could I forever forget about a freaking Peacock?
By the way, Mark, is your microphone never on?
It's on.
Craig G has
Couldn't hear you
Iowa
there.
State. And who else am I looking up? Miami?
I've got my trusted sheet here. Hang
Eric
on.
K.
This is the longest I've ever gone by actually holding on to these sheets. I usually totally forget them. St. Peter's, Brandon, there's a Brandon for St. Peter's. Remember we made fun of him.
Right, so St. Peter's guy is still in it. But Craig G or Eric K, one of them are guaranteed to be in the Elite Eight. And then should we just go ahead and crown the Norfolk State guy? Isn't that the biggest blowout? Reed. Is that my buddy Reed Garlock? I think that is him.
So Reed at Norfolk State. Who blew him out?
Gonzaga, right?
That sounds... No, Gonzaga beat Georgia State.
Oh.
Baylor.
Kansas?
Baylor did.
So there you go.
Baylor beat them by 36.
Guess we'll probably have to double check.
You know what?
There was the blowout.
I did this game once, Kevin, where we went ahead and crowned the biggest blowout winner before the Final Four, and then Villanova went in the Final Four against Oklahoma and beat them by like 55 points or something.
I was thinking of last year too. Baylor-Houston.
Yeah, that was brutal.
How big of a route that was. You got to think Gonzaga, Arizona was probably the most popular national title pick. I mean, those are the two favorites.
Totally.
Remember we had John Rothstein on a couple weeks ago? I said to him, I go, hey, I'll give you Gonzaga and Arizona or the field, and he was all over Gonzaga, Arizona.
I had Kentucky, Arizona. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Purdue, Villanova still holding out hope over here.
That would be a very popular matchup, needless to say. By the way, I left my phone in my car and I feel naked.
Oh gosh, that is. I would literally rather be naked than not have my phone.
Now I'm concerned that maybe I dropped it somewhere.
Or maybe the empty car down there.
I was gonna say.
Somehow they have gravitational pull. You just pulled it out of your pocket.
the abandoned Forerunner that's down in the parking lot. Did you see, Kevin, the other big news story or sports story, I guess, of the day yesterday? A second grand jury investigation for Deshaun Watson.
I thought you were going to say the Pacers played well.
And, well, they lost by 30, right? So Deshaun Watson, the second grand jury,
and that was
no charges.
No criminal charges, correct?
Correct.
So now at this point, is it just up to the league, suspension-wise?
Yeah, but I would think 6 games, right? Because isn't that what Ben Roethlisberger got?
So I think Roethlisberger got 6, appealed it, and it came down to 4.
I think that's right. But Roethlisberger had how many charges versus Watson? Or allegations? Charges, no.
Yeah, totally fair. So I think that is a big one to watch for many reasons. But, if you want to talk on the field football-wise, what do things look like Cleveland and their playoff hopes? The Colts restructured Matt Ryan's contract yesterday. We'll get into that. What does that mean for them? A name out there we haven't really talked about?
From a quarterback standpoint?
No, this is more of a splash free agent signing. I think Tyrann Mathieu makes sense here.
I've heard that he. You always hear this though. He wants to come here. You hear that about everybody, but he is one name that's been thrown around a little bit, right?
It's interesting. Julian Blackmon tore his Achilles in late October, maybe early November is kind of popping in my head. you got to wonder when is he back? I mean, you could need a safety to start maybe half the season. And then what does Gus Bradley's defense call for? Does it call for a little bit more of versatility on the back end?
He's been Tyrann Mathieu's interesting to me, Kevin, because he came in with red flags into the league, and he's been a fabulous player, and by all accounts, a good citizen, right? I was
going to say, I think all the teams that have had him are kind of like, he's the quarterback of our secondary.
Correct. And I mean, I think he's been, I don't think he's had a single indiscretion, has he?
No, I think things have been really good on that front. So we'll touch on that. We're down to 13 scholarships in Bloomington.
I saw that. Michael Durr into the portal, right?
And then late last night, Parker Stewart.
Yeah, Parker Stewart was one that I think, did you find that surprising?
I did not, just because I thought when him and Finney spoke on senior night, Jake, I thought they were both gone.
Finney, I'm hearing, may lean that way too, yeah.
And then what about Race Thompson and Trace Jackson-Davis? I mean, you could have a lot of subtractions. Obviously, you're going to make some additions. I mean, I look at it, and just from a pure, putting a roster together, you definitely have to go get a point guard if Finney goes.
But they have the kid coming in, though. Shiano or whatever his name is.
I thought he's kind of more of a combo guard. And then with Durr leaving, if Trace leaves...
Yeah, you've got to go
get a big guy.
Yeah, you're right. You need some frontline help for sure.
Have you heard anything on the assistant coach front?
No. In terms of who they might go with?
Yeah.
No. And I've got a feeling it'll be somebody that you're like, okay, not,
do you think this is just slap a title on Randy Whitman and put him on the sideline?
Boy, that's a good question there. That's a good question. I don't know if they would go with that or a younger guy to help in recruiting. I mean, I don't know. I did talk yesterday to a couple people, but I actually didn't ask that question per se of who they would go with. Assistant coaches are, especially when you've got a coach like Mike Woodson, who's kind of, I think Mike Woodson originally, the thought was, he was kind of just the CEO type, the face of it all. But I think he's got more, I think he is taking control over more areas of the program than probably a year ago people would have guessed. But that's not a bad thing. I mean,
I'd like to see him hire someone with ample college experience.
I'm freaking out because my phone's in my car.
Yeah, I would be as well. I mean, I think we got a decent break here. I would go down.
Mark, can you play Stairway to Heaven, Mark?
Yeah, exactly. And maybe on repeat, actually.
That's right.
For Jake to go downstairs. He's Jake Query. I'm Kevin Bowen. Mark Dykton, as always, on the ones and twos. Greg Rakestraw is going to join us at 8 o'clock. The IHSA Boys State Finals tomorrow over at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Rake will get you set for that. We also had a big match on the pitch last night. The United States and Mexico.
U.S. was aggressive, I heard. Somebody said that. I didn't see any of it. I just saw a tweet.
Does anything sum up just novice soccer fan than an aggressive 0-0 draw?
Is that what it was?
Last night. I do think the United States inched their way a little bit closer to the World Cup.
Was it really 0-0?
0-0 down there in Estadio Azteca in, I assume Mexico City.
That's in Santiago, right? I've been there twice last year.
Joe
I designed the building right next door to it.
At 8:45, he's going to give us some picks, not only for tonight. Again, the Sweet 16 matchups tonight. You've got Purdue's region, and you've got the Midwest region with Kansas as well. And then we can look at Saturday games.
I'm heading downstairs. Do you think I can make it in time?
Yeah. Yeah, you got ample time there. So the Saturday games, again, for those that missed it late last night, it will be Villanova and Houston at 6:09 as Houston upsets Arizona. And then Arkansas beat Gonzaga, so they will take on Duke. That Duke-Texas Tech game, I thought, was the game of the night last night. Great back-and-forth game, and the Blue Devils keep Coach K's retirement tour going for at least one more game. We'll talk about all of it, breaking it down here. Good Friday morning to you on Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
He is the new quarterback for your Indianapolis Colts.
Okay, we got our guy. We can worry about other stuff now.
Does Matt Ryan make the Colts a Super Bowl threat?
Jimmy, what are we doing? If you're talking about it.
The Colts just got better quarterback to be part of an organization that has an incredible history.
We're talking about it.
Go get Matt Ryan and then draft a quarterback.
Matt Ryan, best quarterback in the division.
Your home for Indy sports. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Your local pharmacy may be a convenient place to get your family's vaccines and boosters. Talk to your pharmacist about Comirnaty COVID-19 vaccine mRNA, sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
CarX Tire and Autos March specials include lifetime brake pads installed just $109.99 per axle and free battery and cabin filter check at CarX. For the location nearest you, it's CarX.com today.
Hey, Indy, one big winners in college hoops and the NBA. Catch me, Joe Wiz, host of The Fine Line, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. right here on The Fan.
Gorgeous gaming, stunning streams, unbelievable bandwidth. It's another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper gig speeds. Meet Gagillionaire Terry. While his love of streaming horror movies has him constantly on the edge of his seat, his internet bill won't give him a scare.
Oh, don't go in there. I'm telling you.
Because since Terry upgraded to AT&T Fiber with hyper gig speeds, he doesn't worry about data caps or equipment fees.
Come on, man. The door's open for a reason.
And best yet, he also doesn't stress about a price increase at 12 months, because with the amazing Gagillionaire lifestyle comes an exquisite sense of tranquility. Most of the time. Live like a Gagillionaire. Get straightforward pricing with AT&T Fiber. Internet that upgrades everything. No data caps, no equipment fees, and no price increase at 12 months.
Limited availability in select areas. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
Indianapolis. At Geico, our employees' careers matter to us.
An inclusive office matters to me.
We hear you, Kelly. Geico has employee resource groups to bring people from all communities together because diversity matters. Your hopes and dreams matter. Even giving you a little space for your lucky bobblehead matters.
Want to work at Geico, Randy? He says yes.
When it comes to your career, what matters to you matters to Geico. We're now hiring claims, sales, and customer service agents. Apply today at careers.geico.com/Indianapolis and let's get growing.
Seeing our designs come to life, then posted and shared on social media makes my day. I'm a jewelry designer at Shane Company. Our design team is excited to bring you new and unique engagement ring and wedding band styles throughout the year. We travel the world for inspiration, concepting and creating fresh designs. Visit Shane Company to see a broad selection of bridal looks we've perfected just for you. New styles ahead of the trends. We have floral and feminine looks, art deco, and modern designs, as well as all the classics. Once you find an engagement ring you love, we have so many options to make it uniquely yours. For your center stone, we offer natural diamonds in 10 different shapes, as well as vibrant sapphires in over a dozen colors. Or you can choose a ruby, aquamarine, or peach morganite. Then add your own touch with an elegant decorative crown and engraving. So come in and bring your dream ring to life.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Golfers, you're invited to make the short trip to experience Antler Point Golf Course in Rushville. Antler Point is under new ownership and just underwent renovations and is ready for you to experience this spring. Weekday specials, senior specials, and affordable weekends, 18 or 9 holes. AntlerPointGolf.com is less than an hour from Indy. You want to play more golf in 2022? Give Antler Point Golf Course in Rushville a swing. You'll be glad you came. AntlerPointGolf.com. That's point with an E. See you soon.
Business owners, are you feeling the pressures of running your business? There's a limit to what you can do and still keep employees engaged. Insperity brings 30-plus years of HR experience to help you with hiring, training, HR administration, and compliance while giving your employees competitive benefit options. You're able to focus on other priorities. Your employees can thrive and your business can grow. With Insperity, nothing seems impossible. Full-service HR, employee benefits, HR technology, Insperity. HR that makes a difference.
Your neighbor Mark loves spring in Indy, but he hates to paint. So he called Rhino Shield.
It's a two-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
That's because Rhino Shield's not paint, it's better.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
All right, Indy, get the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
It was done in 2001 and still going strong. From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Don't paint.
Don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
When you lose your hair, you lose more than just hair. You lose your confidence. But that doesn't have to happen. Today, there are proven medical solutions to stop hair loss, and in some cases, regrow what you've lost. And now you can get them online at forhims.com, including the very latest treatment, topical finasteride and minoxidil spray. It combines 2 proven hair loss treatments in the only hair loss spray of its kind, and only forhims.com has it. No more pills, no more messy, time-consuming applications. Topical finasteride and minoxidil spray is only available by prescription, but at forhims.com, you can connect with a medical provider online who will, if appropriate, prescribe this new spray and ship it to your home. It's that easy. Get the old hair back. Get the old you back at forhims.com. For a free online consultation, go to forhims.com/care. Regrow your hair in 3 to 6 months at forhims.com/care. forhims.com/care.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
We talked about it. The Sweet 16 moves on. The Sweet 16 now is... my math always eludes me here. Is it 12 now, right?
Yeah, 4 eliminated last night, right?
Those eliminated last night. The Gonzaga Bulldogs, the number 1 seed in the West. Texas Tech, the number 3 seed in the West.
God, man, you feel for them.
Then in the South, Arizona, the number 1 seed, gone. Michigan, the 11 seed, gone.
1 Big Ten team left, Jake. The Boilermakers of Purdue, they'll play tonight, 7:09 against St. Peter's. Matt Painter yesterday on the Peacocks.
I'm impressed with how hard they play, how competitive they are. They got guys that come off the bench that are starters. They're deep. They're well coached. And so, we're going to have our hands full there. I think when the NCAA tournament, I know the numbers speak for themselves because the higher number normally advances, but that's what makes this special in March Madness.
Yeah, I think one thing that'll help Purdue tonight, among other things, Jake, is the advantage of St. Peter's. We talked about it earlier in the week. St. Peter's is kind of a Cinderella outlier. They're really young and they're really deep. Well, their depth shouldn't be an advantage against Purdue, you would think.
Right.
Purdue should be able to combat that really, really well. So I do think that plays into Purdue's hands, along with being, of course, much, much taller. Again, Oscar Tshiebwe, the big man for Kentucky, he had 30 and 16 in the first matchup of the tournament against St. Peter's. So I think it'll be interesting to see how Sheehan Holloway and company decide to guard Zach Edey and Trayvon Williams.
Did you see his interview last night during one of the games? And I can't recall which one it was interviewing, and it was like, you're like the most soft-spoken head coach ever in the Sweet 16.
Super soft-spoken, but you talk about a dude that believes in his team. He's got some Jersey toughness there. He was that as a player. I remember him in Seton Hall back in those when Notre Dame was in the Big East, watching those matchups, and he was just a tough, hard-nosed point guard. The second game tonight in that region will be UNC and UCLA. The other 2 games, Kansas and Providence, and Iowa State and Miami. So just the 1 seed remaining. And Jake, I told you this during the break. The favorite to cut down the nets right now in New Orleans.
Unbelievable. The
Kelvin
team that has been
Sampson.
My favorite stat about Houston, they have been to more Final Fours than any school that has never won a title. They're 0 for 6 in Final Fours. Yep.
I would not have guessed that. How many for Gonzaga?
Final 4 appearances?
4-ish. 2 national championship game appearances. I don't know. Maybe it's not even 4.
I got to think about that. Illinois is second with 5. Illinois is 0 for 5.
A team that will not be in the Final 4 of the NBA this year is the Indiana Pacers. They lose last night, 133-103 in Memphis. Jake, if you add up the 2 Grizzly-Pacer matchups in the last 2 weeks...
What is it, a 70-point differential? Something like that? I mean, they lost
63 points.
Yeah.
The Pacers lost
Brutal.
to the Ja Morant-less Grizzlies in both of those 2 games.
No Rick Carlisle.
Yes, family emergency for Rick Carlisle. He was not there last night. He won't be there tomorrow in Toronto. Desmond Bain, the Richmond, Indiana native, had 30 last night for the Grizz.
Okay, Jaren Jackson Jr. had 20 for the Grizzlies. Open disclaimer. Do you recall, and I think he went to maybe one of the prep schools, but do you remember him, aside from Park Tudor, do you remember him at Park Tudor?
Just kind of early on. Did he go to Lumiere? Is that where he went?
I think he did, maybe. I don't recall him. I mean, I remember hearing his name at Park Tudor. I don't remember hearing a lot about his game at Park Tudor.
I actually listened to a podcast with him a couple weeks back, and he's doing a ton in the Memphis community, and really, I think he's known as one of the better defensive players in the league. I should watch more of Memphis because they have so many Indiana ties. Pacers are now 25-49 on the year, 8 games to go. Jake, this is obviously going to go down as one of the worst seasons in franchise history. Certainly over the last 30-some years.
It's bad. The last time that they were this bad, I mean, right after the brawl, they were really bad, but in terms of just this bad, I guess you could say the Trey or Oladipo jumping ship gave them this, but, the brawl, you kind of had a reason, right? The last time they were this organically bad, you got to go back to the early to mid-'80s.
Yeah, certainly health has not helped them this year, but I don't think anybody expected it to be this bad. The IU women, they're back in action tomorrow in the Sweet 16. They've got Gina Oriem and the Huskies at 2 o'clock in Bridgeport, so I would assume a heavy Husky contingent there. Notre Dame is also in that region. They've got they've got NC State. They beat Oklahoma to get to the Sweet 16. That is at 11:30. And a quick state finals rundown for tomorrow night. We'll have Greg Rakestraw on at the top of the hour to talk more about it. The 4A matchup, Cathedral and Chesterton. 3A, Beech Grove. Just an incredible story there with Mishawaka Marion. And then the morning game, Central Noble and Providence 2A. And North Davies versus Lafayette Central Catholic. 6 of the 8 teams making their state final debuts.
2 Final Four appearances for Gonzaga.
Oh, that's it?
It does feel like more, doesn't it?
So both of those national title runner-ups are their only...
They have the same number as Butler in terms of Final Four appearances. Both would be national championship games, right?
I would not have guessed that. All right, we come back here on Kevin and Corey. Let's get more into Purdue. Their matchup tonight with St. Peter's, what the bracket looks like, and we'll touch on the Boilers as things right now continue to favor them on that left side of the bracket. It is Friday. You'll listen to Kevin and Corey right here, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Join me today. We're going to talk Purdue taking on St. Peter's in the Sweet 16. Jason Hammer's going to join us. Kevin Bowen's going to join us. The Cashman. I can't wait. Join me today, noon to 3.
Spring is here, and so are the great deals and service at Payless Liquors. Bottles of Oliver Sweet Red and White are only $6.99. Kendall Jackson Vintners Reserve Chardonnay $9.99. And Stella Rosa $11.99. Stock up on the 1.75-liter bottles and make some great drinks for the tournament. With Grey Goose, it's only $39.99. Old Forester $29.99. And the big bottle of Evan Williams is just $22.99 at all 26 Payless Liquor locations, open 7 days a week, and online at PaylessLiquors.com. Don't pay more, get more, pay less at Payless Liquors.
The Boilers are in the Sweet 16, and your opportunity to make some money is there. Kevin Bowen for PropSwap. Luke Bergandy, owner of PropSwap, is with me on the line right now. And again, PropSwap, the place in the state of Indiana to buy and sell sports props. It is an awesome avenue gambling that I absolutely love. And Luke, you guys sold a Purdue ticket earlier in the week with 10-1 odds. You're not finding Purdue at, DraftKings, FanDuel, wherever right now, better than probably 8-1 odds. And you guys currently have some tickets available that are a little bit north of that. So if you believe in the Boilers and you think even if they're going to get to the Final Four, this is your chance to go ahead and buy.
Yep, exactly, man. We've been selling Purdue tickets all tournament long. I think that this was kind of a popular team, certainly in Indiana and really just around the country. 50-1 odds we've seen on bets, and those are all getting sold right now. And of course, you as the buyer can swoop in and get the best price in the world on Purdue at 10-1 odds. I see a bunch of Purdue tickets on the site right now. And as always on PropSwap, you can submit a bid. So say we have a Purdue ticket odds of 7-1. Submit a bid and ask the seller if he would take odds of 10-1. He may accept, and he or she may accept, and then you can resell it. So say you get that bid accepted before the game against St. Peter's, and they jump out to an early lead, flip it at odds of 4-1 and lock in some cash before that game's even over.
And I want to make it clear again, as Luke just pointed out, if Purdue gets to the Final Four, even the Elite Eight, you could have a winning ticket all of a sudden in your hands. Just if those odds shrink a little bit, which they are, the further Purdue's going to get in the tournament. If you don't like their matchup against whoever or whoever in the Final Four, then you can go ahead and sell if you want to decide to go down that path. PropSwap is the place for the best odds in the country. Head to PropSwap.com and download the free PropSwap app today.
It's Terry Stacy for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drains. Owner Chris Ambrose says second opinions are important.
You want to make sure that you are confident in the service that you're getting from whoever. The diagnostic that we give you may be different from the one that you got before. What we hope is it'll give you peace of mind that you're getting the right solution for your problem.
Get your free second opinion from B&W by going to BigBlackTrucks.com. Your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Hey there, it's Query, and you've heard me talk about it. Back in school, actually got graded on the paper yesterday, 88, Mark. I got an 88. I needed a 90 to get the A. Well, I mean, to maintain an A, I can
Don't
still
get any free rentals at the video store now because you missed out on that A.
That's a British horror films. They said my accent cost me 5 points. Anyway, I'm back in school, folks, because I actually left some college credits sitting on the table back some 25 years ago and just assumed that the opportunity would never arise for me to finish. But now, via online classes, things like that, I'm able through Indiana University to complete my degree. And I would love for you folks to join me in that. Listen, if I can do this, trust me, if I can do this, you can as well. Whether you're thinking about going back and finishing a degree or maybe pursuing one for the first time, or looking for a certification in any of many high-paying jobs throughout the area, nextleveljobs.org, presented by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education, has the answer for you. At nextleveljobs.org, you can find certifications in over 150 high-paying jobs that can help you if you are one of those who has that gap between a high school diploma and that college degree. You can get valuable training and certifications in any of 5 different industries throughout the state of Indiana. And the great thing about nextleveljobs.org is it has the roadmap there in terms of the financial assistance necessary for that tuition, and really a high possibility you might even be able to get grants from the state of Indiana to take care of it. 700,000 Hoosiers have those college credits sitting out there and have not gone back to finish it. Time is now. Why not? Take a look at it. nextleveljobs.org, presented by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education.
You've waited long enough. It's time to come back home again. Play hooky and come to the return of Indy's biggest party. Carb Day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with a few familiar faces. This one's for all the years gone! Kings of Chaos, featuring members from over 10 bands you know and love, including Sebastian Bach, Jack Blades, John Wade, Lita Ford, Matt Sora, Gilby Clark, Warren DeMartini, and Sean McNabb. Playing the biggest hit songs that made them global superstars. Kings of Chaos, co-headlining with Rick Springfield. With special guests Morris Day and The Time. It's Carb Day. Back and even better than you remember. With racing practice, the last day of on-track action before the race, the pit stop challenge, and the party atmosphere you've been missing. Back home again May 27th at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Tickets at IMS.com.
Hi, this is Ryan Newman, NASCAR Cup Series driver and champion for a great cause, driven to save lives and organ donation. Look, what I do is dangerous, and nobody's invincible, but we can all do something incredible to save the lives of others. That's why I want you to take a moment and register yourself as an organ donor, like me, at driventosavelives.org. You might just become somebody's real hero.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Mark Dykton coming up with Oasis, baby. Love it.
They're solid. Solid option.
They are. Guns N' Roses is the greatest band ever assembled, not named the Beatles. Oasis is second. Good morning to you. Jake Query here. Kevin Bowen, 21 minutes before the hour of 8 o'clock. Purdue getting underway. What time is tip tonight, Kevin?
First game, 7:09 for the Boilers.
So almost exactly 12 hours from now. And I should be midway through the first half.
I think this is the week. This is the week the Purdue fans have been waiting for. This weekend, the Sweet 16 Elite 8 games. Yeah, we've seen in this tournament. It's no guarantee you survive the first weekend. But you think about the emotions for them and thinking about getting back to a Final Four. here it is. And what a great opportunity. We've talked about it. I think the UCLA, Carolina, the other side of the bracket. You've taken care of Carolina earlier this year. Sure, it's a different team, but not a ton of depth. UCLA's got a couple injury questions as well right now. Gosh, I can only imagine the emotions for Purdue fans waking up today.
There's just such a dichotomy of nerves and excitement. When you are a fan of a team at this point, Kevin, your mind flip-flops from you try to stave the temptation of looking too far down the road, and then 5 minutes later you look too far down the road and you get super excited, and you just go back and forth. I mean, there is such a thrill with the pressure, but there's also such a nerve with the pressure.
Without a doubt.
As a fan, and you're not even the one playing, right?
Well, as a fan, especially a fan of that program that's had the near misses. And if you're Stefanovic, if you're Travion Williams, and you're Eric Hunter, and you think back to the Elite Eight game against Virginia and all of that, Stefanovic is so key, Jake. I think that they've got to get him going. He has not shot the three ball well in this tournament, nor the Big Ten tournament as well. Something I saw, I guess it's probably a few weeks ago, Jake, they did one of these kind of side-by-side things with Purdue. They put their recruiting rankings over the last 5 years on one side within the Big Ten, and then they put where they finished in the Big Ten on the right side. Because what's the stat? They've made the third most Sweet 16s of any team in college basketball over the last 5 years, I think it is, right?
Yeah.
Like Michigan, Gonzaga, then
I think that's
them.
right.
Their recruiting rankings within the Big Ten are like, middle of the pack. Last year they had a really strong recruiting class, but, several years it's been like 8th in the Big Ten, 9th in the Big Ten, and yet the right side, which listed their finish in the Big Ten, it's second, it's first, it's fourth. Like, the player development within that program, and again, finding the right pieces. Stefanovic, not highly ranked whatsoever. Mason Gillis, I think, is just a huge piece to everything that Purdue does as well. It's just another layer to what Matt Painter has built and the buy-in that he's gotten for a team that largely continuity-wise stays together, and then the internal development that he's gotten with that program. It's tough to achieve in college basketball, but whether it's Johnny Davis at Wisconsin, Keegan Murray at Iowa, or even a Jaden Ivey, but there are other pieces on that Purdue roster that I think apply to it as well. It's darn impressive.
It is unfair, admittedly, and I apologize for it to Purdue right now. And I love, Elliot Bloom, who I've known a long time. Matt Painter, obviously. I've had the privilege to be able to go up and watch their practices in October, when greatness is built. But it's unfair to compare, and I know that Purdue has waited forever.
That
Purdue
sounds like
fans,
a poster in a weight room. October, where greatness is built.
You like that?
Jake Query, 2020.
Hell yeah.
Right next to the Kitty Hang In There poster.
That's right. But it's unfair to compare Purdue to Indiana because Purdue fans have waited forever to be able to get out from the shadow of Indiana in this state. And I'm going to make that comparison with apology to Purdue, but as the ultimate, but hear me out, Purdue fans, before you get mad for me doing so. The Indiana basketball that Indiana fans pine for, long for, sit around over campfires talking about the glory days of. That blueprint is going to be on display tonight against St. Peter's. I'm not saying that Purdue found success by becoming Indiana. That's not what I'm saying. But Indiana fans, and I know a lot of them, because it's Purdue, it absolutely drives them crazy that Purdue's in the Sweet 16 and could be going to the Final Four. What should drive Indiana fans crazy is that Purdue is the program you fell in love with. Purdue plays as a team. Purdue has a dynamic star that's an Indiana kid that has progressed while on campus. Purdue has an international player that is developed before your very eyes. Purdue has a big man out of the Chicagoland area that is an upperclassman that is a man amongst boys. Purdue has outside shooters from the state of Indiana and role players from places like Newcastle and Valpo that buy into the team concept. For Indiana fans to say that they don't like this Purdue team is to say that they don't like the teams that they fell in love with 30 years ago, because that's exactly what Matt Painter has built at Purdue. And if you are a resident of the state of Indiana, if you are somebody that takes pride in high school basketball in Indiana and the Indiana way and all of that, I know that there's a rivalry between Indiana and Purdue, but it's okay tonight in the comfort of your own home where nobody's looking to say to yourself, I'm going to root for Purdue because these guys are doing it the right way.
This isn't fandom, Jake, but there is a tip of the cap to it if you're an IU fan. Like, you have to have that respect. Again, fandom, involves venom, so I don't know how many IU fans will actually do that. But how do you not?
There was a dynamic recruit.
Have that respect.
I'm not going to say any names because I don't want to get in any trouble here. But I was on the Purdue campus at a practice I'll just say a handful of years ago. And there is a particular player that was being highly coveted, or that was highly coveted. And I had heard early in this player's career, Purdue is a possibility, and then I never heard Purdue again. And I asked members of the Purdue basketball program, why are you guys recruiting this player? No, And I said, why would you, I had heard that this player's, father was a little miffed why you're not recruiting. And Matt Painter looked me right in the eyes and said, he's a pay-for-play kid. I'm not going to do it. That compromises our program. I'm not going to do it. I don't want kids that are coming here with the shoe stuff, and I don't want to be a part of it. So what do? They go and get a Jaden Ivey, who is an unbelievable talent, but everything I just mentioned. I'm telling you, I know for Indiana fans it kills them. But if you are an Indiana University basketball fan because you claim that you like the principles of Bob Knight's Indiana basketball, then you ought to put on your black T-shirt tonight and boiler the hell up, because that's exactly what they are.
Corey goes, respect? Sure. Rooting for Purdue? Never. Play that Peacock sound now. Yeah, I was gonna say you don't need to twist Mark's arm anymore. Good Jimmy's on the line, Mark.
Good Jimmy is on the line.
Let's talk a little Jaden Ivey.
Yep.
What's up, Jimmy? Happy Friday, man.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Friday. Sorry for calling 2 days in a row. Hope you guys don't mind, but I always appreciate your show. First off, I have to give Jake a shout out. Jake, I apologize. I never gave you a chance when you were on opposite John, but I've always appreciated getting to listen to you lately, so I appreciate it. But
likewise, man.
Yeah, hey, real quick, two things. One, thank you for that, Jake, by the way. But two things. One, if you guys don't have a rooting interest tonight in the Iowa State-Miami game, I grew up in South Florida, and I'm more of a Hurricanes football fan, but I did go to Miami Hurricanes games back when they played in the old Miami Arena.
Jimmy, did they get supported down there? I mean, and I know that Miami is like a private school, but Miami basketball, the Hurricanes, because they have had, Rick Barry played there, and, they've had good teams over the years. Are they on the radar at all down there?
There might be now that they're making a run, but no, it's for the most part, I think it's always going to be a football school.
Right. I was going to say, a couple of the crowd shots I've seen, it's a little Notre Dame basketball like, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, for sure. And real quick on Jaden Ivey, guys, I just wanted to get your guys' opinion. This one might sting a little bit for Butler fans, but I'm going to compare him a little bit to Kemba Walker, the UConn run. And I want to know if you guys see any resemblance in that of what Jaden Ivey could do with this Purdue program the rest of the tournament. And you guys have a wonderful weekend. Take care.
Appreciate that, Jimmy. A couple of those threes Jaden Ivey hit in that opening weekend, Jake, it was when he can stretch the floor to that degree, this is not a guy that you can just sag off of. And we've talked about this before. The spacing with Purdue always playing a big isn't necessarily wide open for him. And I think he's got more support than maybe Kemba Walker had on those UConn teams. But Ivy showed some flashes in that opening weekend, Jake, of a different level. And now doing it on the Sweet 16 Elite 8 stage will certainly be another step forward. Because, again, this is foreign to him, Jake. You just brought it up. It's not like he was an incredibly highly recruited kid. He went to Mishawaka Marion, then he went to Lumiere. I mean, this is a different spotlight for him as well. He was terrific, arguably the United States' best player in their run to the gold medal last summer. But still, this is a bit different.
The other thing with Kemba Walker, when Kemba Walker made that run, in terms of style of play and size, I think Ivy is more athletic than even Walker is, and Walker's obviously a great player, right? No question about it.
More of a combo guard, Kemba, more of that true point guard.
But the one thing with Kemba Walker is, even just with that 1 year, when he made that run, it was his junior year, and I think Kemba Walker, Jimmy, had learned at that point that from the second the game tipped, it was going to go through him. I think Jaden Ivey is just now, and I think we've only seen it personally in the last probably month, that Jaden Ivey is, you can see with each game, it is earlier in the game when he is deciding, all right, now it's going to go through me. I think he's letting other players, Trevion Williams for a good part of that Texas game, at times Zach Edey, he's letting other players get involved, and then he's like, okay, now it's time to get out of the way. Kemba Walker, when he was at Connecticut and had that run, I think that entire season, as soon as he stepped on the floor, it was give me the ball, right?
Ivy had that first half at Wisconsin, that huge game to try and win the Big Ten, where it was like, what is going on? I mean, he is deferring way too much. I think ever since then, we've seen a little bit more assertiveness from him. Purdue calls are coming in hot and heavy this morning. Boiler Bill is on the line. Boiler Bill, it's been a while.
Kevin and Jake, thanks for taking my call. First off, good Jimmy, you're a class act, man. You are. Guys, we don't want or need any IU respect. They can shove it right where the sun don't shine. I can't wait for this weekend, man. My Boilers punching our tickets to New Orleans, Louisiana. My flight and hotel are already booked. The French Quarter ain't ready for the buffoons, baby. Acme Oyster House, Dragos, Charboiled oysters, hunting for crocs in the Gulf. Here come the Boilers. Guys, I want to congratulate one Dane Fife for getting out of the dumpster fire that is IU basketball. What a great day it must be for Dane. The loonies like training camp Jimmy have no idea how bad this program really is, guys. They should have been hosting an NIT game last weekend. Instead, they got embarrassed in front of the nation. Turn on your tube tonight and watch a real program in Indiana show you how it gets it done. Mr. Moderna, Greg Doyle, my fake vaccine card is packed, sir. Training camp Jimmy, King Looney, after we cut down the nets, I'll be sure to bring home a New Orleans po' boy for your fat ass. Toot, toot.
Oh, boy.
Now, do you think Bill had that written out?
I feel like I had to play that after that call.
Do you think Bill had that typed out?
I think any of those IU fans, Jake, that you were hoping might sit on their couch and cheer for Purdue tonight just went out the window after that call, right?
Would you say that Boiler Bill and Training Camp Jimmy, like both fan bases, like they are not part of us?
It's actually the same guy, right? It's a guy Kevin went to high school with that's helping out the show.
He is not really with us. Like, that is not one of ours right there. We had an IU call as well. Is that right, Mark?
Yep.
Gino, what's up about IU's transfers? What's up, Gino?
Hey, fellas, great show this morning.
Thank you.
Gino, you sound like a nice guy. Have you called the show before?
Yeah, I have. It's been a long time ago, but I have called.
Did you grow up in the area, Gino?
Yes, I did.
You sound like a fun guy to have a beer with. Can we have a beer sometime together? You just sound like a fun guy.
Hey, just let me know when y'all come up to A-Town, up to Anderson, and we'll make it happen.
Oh, you're in Anderson?
Yes, sir.
Now, just out of curiosity, when you live in Anderson and somebody asks where you live, do you say not far from the IHOP? Because there's like 7 of them up there, right?
No, well, we got one up there. We do at least have one. But
I've had several beers in my Anderson days, and the Colts used to have training camp up there, Gino.
Oh, yeah. Well,
are you a Madison Heights guy, an Anderson guy, or a Highland guy?
No, I'm an Indian.
Okay.
Went through all that misery, back in the 80s when we had Troy Lewis, and we just could not get over the hump. We came so close to win the state championship, but just could not get it done.
Great teams and great times, though, man.
I mean, hey, we beat Marion that afternoon and then messed around and lost to Cartersville, so that still sticks with me.
I hear you. All right, Gino, what's on your mind with IU?
Okay. Couple things. The transfers yesterday with Michael Durr and Parker Stewart. I mean, honestly, I mean, these guys, I mean, they were role players, and I think that, whoever IU, decides to go after, I think these guys would definitely are easily replacements. I mean, Michael Durr, there was points during this year where I thought he just has no offensive game. He has no offensive game. Parker Stewart is supposed to have been a great shooter. I never saw it. And one more thing before I get off here. All these Purdue fans that are getting on here saying that they're going to do this and do that, hey, before y'all gloat too much, hey, when's the last time Purdue's won a championship?
Touche. Thank you, Gino. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend. I don't think Durr or Parker Stewart is any significant loss at all. I don't. Obviously, the big ones, and this is obvious, Jake, but what happens with Race Thompson and Trace Jackson-Davis?
You got to think.
I mean, if I use
are they attached at the hip? If Jackson-Davis goes, does Race Thompson say, you know what, I'm good?
Yeah, I've heard they're extremely close and, maybe kind of separate from a lot of other guys on that team, so I think there could be some validity to that. I also think this, Jake, I mean, if I use missing open looks last year with Trace Jackson-Davis in the post, how are those looks going to be next year if you don't have him on the floor? Heath goes thinking any true IU fan is going to root for Purdue is like saying Colts should root for the Patriots.
Well, of course.
Both
I
get
rivals.
It's not going to happen.
I'm speaking like what's the word I'm looking for? Like not. I'm speaking figuratively, right? Like I don't expect Indiana fans really are, right?
That's all they want to hear today, Indiana fans.
Now, we haven't played. Can you believe, Kevin, we are an hour into it. You know what we haven't done yet, Mark?
What?
I mean, last night, the last thing that we said on the show yesterday was Razorbacks going to shock the world.
You called it.
We played that audio of us all three predicting. Mark, you called Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we are over.
You called
right
Villanova, and I called Arkansas. Woo, Pig Suey. We have yet to play a Razorback. See how we're maturing,
I have
Kevin?
a neighbor that has a Pig Suey license plate on the front of the vehicle.
Really?
And I'm just fascinated to know more about him.
Is he from Arkansas, or is he an overweight attorney?
I say neighbor, and he's like 10 houses down, but he's, he always parks out on the street. You always see it. What is Pig Suey?
It's an overweight attorney, I think. No, isn't that? It's just what they yell. I don't know. Right?
Yeah, I have no idea what it means.
Have you seen the video where John Calipari in
Kentucky?
Kentucky
I have to look up origin of Pig Suey.
Is playing at Arkansas, and like Coach Cal goes to some local Arkansas joint the night before, and the whole restaurant does the chant.
I know that. Have you ever been to Fayetteville?
No, I've not.
I went there. We're way over, I realized. I went freshman year of college. I went to an Arkansas-Baylor game for my University of Kansas pledge walkout. And the one thing I realized, at least in the fraternity house where we stayed for the weekend, is every single guy there was 5'7", 205 pounds, and drank Keystone Light. That's my assessment of Arkansas.
Well, when I think of Arkansas, I think of John Daly.
And I will say, in particular, Western Arkansas is absolutely beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful state.
I was going to say, actually, they have some great golf courses. So I do think the land there is pretty unique. All right, we come back here on Kevin Aquari, the 8 o'clock hour. Greg Rakestraw is going to join us next. We'll have Joe Wiz a little bit later in the 8 o'clock hour to get you set for the 4 Sweet 16 games tonight and a look ahead to the 2 Elite 8 games tomorrow. Kevin Aquari on a Friday.
The sensitive side of Dan Dockage.
Yep. I think it's the greatest NCAA games ever. I get tired of watching games, so I'll go somewhere. But I got to tell you, man, for 4 days, I didn't go anywhere. From rooting like hell for Indiana to rooting like hell for Purdue at the end, it was 4 days of me just sitting and watching and winning money and loving every minute of it.
Dan Dockage, weekdays noon to 3 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Want the same internet but more privacy? DuckDuckGo's got you covered. They help millions of people like you get privacy online without any trade-offs. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Make the short trip to experience Antler Point Golf Course in Rushville, less than an hour from Indy. Give Antler Point in Rushville a swing. AntlerPointGolf.com. That's point with an E.
Start your bracket with a bang. Right now, FanDuel Sportsbook is giving new customers a $150 instant bonus guaranteed. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query. That's right, you'll get $150 in bonus site credit, and all you have to do is place your first bet of $5 or more. How you bet the bracket is up to you. You can choose from the money line, point totals, prop bets, and so much more. Looking at tonight's Sweet 16 slate, I have to roll with the Purdue Boilermakers to take on the St. Peter's Peacocks. I feel like Purdue is going to punch their ticket to the Elite Eight with relative ease. So join FanDuel today with promo code MARK. Then you can place your $5 bet to score $150 in bonus site credit guaranteed. That's promo code MARK on the FanDuel Sportsbook app, MARC. 21 and over and present in Indiana. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is now withdrawable site credit that expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Spring in Indy. And since 2001, Rhino Shield has been covering Indiana homes and businesses. Just ask Mike.
I was watching TV one night and saw the Rhino Shield ad, and I thought, well, if they can do a house, they can probably do a building.
And Rhino Shield's not paint. It's better.
So they came out and they gave me a price, showed me how the Rhino works, how it lasts, and how the guarantee works.
Business owners, you too can get the 25-year protection of Rhino Shield right now for 15% off the regular price.
They started on the building. They waited for us to leave, and they worked Saturday and Sunday so they wouldn't affect our business at all. This was the great part of it. I came back Sunday night, and you couldn't even tell they were here. There was no paint on the ground. They did a fantastic job.
Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl. Go Rhino.
Hey, don't vinyl. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
When our Shane Company diamond buyers travel overseas to examine diamonds, they have everything they need to select the most beautiful stones. In-depth knowledge, experience, natural light, and an eye for beauty. When you shop with us, we want you to also have everything you'll need to select your diamond. That's why we sell our diamonds loose. We were the first jeweler in America to sell loose stones. To choose a diamond, ruby, or sapphire like an expert, you need to see the entire stone, to look at it from every angle before it's set into your jewelry. Our jewelry consultants provide everything you need to properly evaluate a stone, the tools, the correct lighting, and the knowledge. You'll compare loose stones side by side, like our diamond experts do. It's the only way you'll be sure to choose the perfect diamond for you. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
Rob Zombie, Mudvayne, Freaks on Parade Tour. Zombie, Mudvayne, together. This trip is for real. July 21st, Ruoff Music Center with Static X and Powerman 5000. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Zombie, Mudvayne, part of the Coors Light concert series.
At Gamebridge Fieldhouse, we protect home court.
That's blocked again by Turner.
We battle.
Washington drives, scores, and a foul.
We dig deep.
Nice pass. Brissett finishes.
For tip-off through the final buzzer. It's game time at the Fieldhouse.
Your Indiana Pacers are down to their final 4 regular season games. Catch the blue and gold in the high-flying Atlanta Hawks Monday at 7. Get your tickets at Pacers.com. Pacers, Hawks, Monday at 7.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
The Pacers head north of the border to take on the Toronto Raptors. Tomorrow night at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
It's Kevin and Query.
We'll have some classes at times.
Hey, quit calling the plays, all right?
You gotta run the ball.
What are you
When we pass, watch. We'll run the ball. Can we run it down? This place. We run it down. Yeah, Jeff. We will. All right, when we call pass plays, block.
On 93.5.
Boom, baby.
And 107.5, The Fan.
So we just got an inside nugget. Mark, am I at liberty to say this?
You are. You've been given permission.
Michael Lewis, former Indiana University basketball star, the pride of Jasper, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. UCLA assistant, set to be announced as the new head basketball coach at Ball State University. Chirp, chirp, right?
Great hire.
Very good hire. And I think a lot of people thought Dane Fife was in that mix as well.
Good for Michael Lewis. That's awesome.
But Michael Lewis, very likable guy. And, listen, Ball State basketball, they got a great arena. You're in a place where you can recruit. So hopefully it works out. And Michael Lewis.
And first time as head coach, correct?
Correct. And I think, he was mentioned at one time as a possibility for Mike Woodson's staff, but there was the notion of look, I would only go there if I know for a fact I could be a head coach. So good for Michael Lewis. Congratulations to Michael Lewis on landing the Ball State job. By the way, just before we get to Greg Rakestraw, apparently, because I know, Kevin, that you were worried about losing sleep over this, the Latin origin for pig is suedi, which became sui as a pig calling call in the Northeast. And so when calling for wild boars, that transformed, I guess, when Northeasterners all moved to Arkansas, as woo pig sui. And that is the war cry, if you will, of the Razorbacks of Arkansas.
I can sleep much better tonight.
See
Thank
the things
you
you learn on this show?
for that, Jake Query. Let's head to the Payless Liquors hotline. The CarX High School Hardwood Rundown. Greg Rakestraw is with us. Rake, before we get to the lineup tomorrow over Gamebridge Fieldhouse, your thoughts on Michael Lewis, if he indeed is the Ball State men's basketball coach?
First of all, I'll answer that question in due time. More painful for you, an hour of Razorback calls and conversation, or finishing dead last in knockout on Wednesday?
God, just talk about a kick in the you-know-what to start my Friday. Rake, there is a bit of a sacrificial lamb when you go first in knockout. Having said that, it would be the former. An hour
I thought
of Razorback
I thought it was
calls.
interesting that you finished right behind, I suppose, one of our Indy 11 players, and A.J. Cochran, who's a great guy.
Uh-huh.
But I also thought it was interesting that both of you finished last to Felicia Lawrence at what she called the free throw game. So I was like, yeah, it was getting significant.
Now, what do you mean we finished last in the free throw game?
That was Felicia a part of it? Because she posted on Facebook something about the free throw game. Didn't call it knockout, called it the free throw game.
The free throw game. Well, I was hoping it was just free throws. Unfortunately, there were layups involved, and I couldn't hit those either.
Well, Felicia and Kevin were on the sidelines together very quickly, right?
Very quickly. Anne-Marie, AJ, Felicia, and I had a nice bonding session.
Had plenty of time to catch up.
Plenty.
Very nice.
Plenty of time.
All right, now let me not be a jerk. Let me answer your question. That is a fantastic get for Ball State, and what it also tells me is that they were willing to spend a little money, because I would imagine Mike was making really good money as a top assistant out at UCLA. And I thought that Michael might have been waiting, again, as you guys alluded to, for Indiana down the road. I thought Michael might have been waiting for Butler, since he is a former Butler assistant. So the fact that he's willing to take the Ball State job, again, tells me that they're spending some money in this position at Ball State, which is good. From a personal standpoint, Michael's brother works for the IHSAA, just began his first year as an assistant commissioner. I know that Michael's mom and dad have just moved to the Fishers area as well, up from Jasper. This is wonderful timing from a family standpoint for everybody involved with the Lewises. And if I'm a Ball State fan, you should be ecstatic that this announcement is coming in the very near future.
Is it unfair to read too much into it, Rake, that means Butler's retaining LaValle Jordan?
Probably a little bit too much to do that, but at the same time, my reasoning behind that is that, A, they went ahead and made a move in the women's basketball position. I don't think they want to eat two contracts at the same time. And secondarily, I saw LaValle out recruiting last week when I was at the Hatchet House in Washington. He was there talking to J.Q. Robertson family of Bloomington North. So you're a couple weeks removed from the season. Usually you're trying to announce these coaching hires by this week or next. If you haven't made that announcement yet at Butler, I think it's going to be LaVall Jordan coming back to get one more opportunity next year. So I think the answer to that question is yes. I'm not sure it's related to the Michael Lewis move.
You know, Greg, there are probably those that will tell me I'm totally naive in this, and I hope I'm not. But I think it's worth pointing out, and I wanted your perspective because I think you have a pretty good ear on these things as well, and tell me if I'm wrong. I know that the wins did not come at the rate in which Ball State wanted and certainly warranted with James Whitford, which is why they have the coaching move that they're making now with Michael Lewis being named the head coach. But I do think that Whitford is a guy that represented the university well, and in terms of the young players that he had and the young people representing Ball State University, he does deserve credit for running it in a way that I think people can be proud of the way they conducted themselves.
That is absolutely true. Spot on. James is a very well-respected guy, and it's why James got kind of the length of tenure that he did at Muncie, because he did things the right way. And one of the big gripes, complaints, concerns, and you have this at any of the other 6 and about to be 7 Indiana Division I schools is, hey, you need to be playing with Indiana kids because you can be successful when you do that. And Ball State has had, not exclusively, but predominantly Indiana kids on their roster and just hasn't found a way to have that level of success that they had at times, during the 80s, whether it was under Steve Yoder or Al Brown. Obviously, it's next to impossible to replicate what Rick Majerus did there for a couple of years or what Dick Hunsaker did there for a while. But trying to get back to what Ray McCallum did, who was just put into the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, as was Al Brown, just a couple of days ago. So, yes, James got them closer and got them in the right direction and leaves a very solid base in terms of the program that Michael will inherit. Now it's a matter of, can you go out and find recruits? They've got a very talented young man in the Sparks kid. It was one of the best freshmen in the MAC that has put his name in the transfer portal, and he has said, hey, I'm not definitively leaving Ball State. I just want to kind of see what direction the program is going to go in. I think that's job number 1 for Michael is recruit your own, because that kid has a chance to be pretty good.
Yeah, I saw IU had some interest in him. Greg Rakestraw is with us again, the CarX High School Hardwood Rundown. Rake, let's shift gears to tomorrow, the state finals over at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. Let's begin with the morning games. You've got North Davies and Lafayette Central Catholic, and then Central Noble and Providence. I would say the main storyline there is probably the Central Noble kid going to Wisconsin, but anything else to note from the morning games?
No, that is correct. I mean, North Davies is a team that was thought could get to that point. The issue for them is always, can you get out of your own sectional? Because when you're in the same sectional as Bar Reeve, Lagodi, and Orleans, if there is a sectional that approximates talent like what we have here locally with the Hamilton County sectional or with the Lawrence North Warren Central Cathedral group, it is that sectional 63 in the southwest corner. So once North Davies get out of that sectional, it was expected Brent Dalrypple's team would make a run, and here they are playing for a state championship. I think a lot of folks thought the team they'd be playing was 21st Century, that they were the favorite coming out of the North the entire year and just couldn't find a way past an always solid Central Catholic program. And Dave Barrett has brought his team once again downstate. Memory serves, it's the first time they are here since 2017. In the other game, again, Connor Esigian is the story. And Central Noble, is a really good basketball team. Just a couple of losses on the season. They avenged one of those in terms of East Side coming out of their sectional. The other one was to a 4A school in Fort Wayne Southside in the middle of February. But Connor Esigian is one of 2 players that I think has a chance to be Mr. Basketball that is playing tomorrow at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. The other is Travis Grayson, who is the star player, the point guard, all about 5'10", but has been tremendous all year and has led Chesterton to 29-0 with a chance at 30-0 in the 4A championship game. Providence is a bit of a surprise to be there. They have been good. They have made deep runs, but they are playing in a boys basketball championship game for the first time. But again, Central Noble, because of Connor Esigian, is the favorite in that 2A game.
Greg, I want to get to Greg Rakestraw is our guest on the Payless Liquors hotline here. We've talked a lot about Beech Grove, and man, do I wish that, and nothing against, obviously, and you and I have talked about this, I mean, what Coach Renfro's done, but Matt English, what he meant to Beech Grove, know he's there in spirit, and you think to yourself, man, if he could have seen this. But let's not take away from Mishawaka Marion, who they face in the 3A state title. What sort of challenge does Beech Grove have now in 24-3 Mishawaka Marion?
Mishawaka Marion's really good. Mishawaka Marion is a team that they have had some tremendous talent over the years. Jaden Ivey was there through his junior year before he ended up transferring to LaPorte La Lumiere. Demetrius Jackson that made the NBA out of Notre Dame. Devin Kennedy that made the NBA and played at Princeton are all Mishawaka Marion former players over the course of the last 10, 15 years. There is not that kid on this group. They probably have one potential Division I player in Declan Sullivan. He is their leading scorer. He is a junior. He is from a pretty remarkable family story, a very devout Catholic family. His older brother played at Ave Maria down in Florida at the NAIA level. His two sisters won a state championship at South Bend St. Joseph. They now are playing out of Rockhurst University Division II out in Kansas City. They were the two leading scorers on that team this past year. Declan is the fourth. His younger brother Paxton is the fifth, who is a freshman, who is kind of the seventh man in the rotation. Mishawaka Marion plays six. The other kind of storyline for Mishawaka Marion is they're battle-tested because they play in the Northern Indiana Conference, which is all of the large schools in their area. So, for example, they've got a victory over Penn. But also, Rob Berger has been great about making sure he has a handful of Indianapolis teams on the schedule. So two of their three losses this year have been to Westfield and Cathedral. So they are prepared for this stage. The advantage that Beech Grove has is depth. Beech Grove legitimately will play 10 in the game on Saturday. And again, Mishawaka Marion doesn't get one much deeper than 6. They might get to 7. And I do think, even though neither team has played on this stage before, there is something to the fact that Beech Grove is going to have, all of Beech Grove in that building because they are so close to home and because it is the first time that the boys have played on a stage like this. So Mishawaka Marion, I'm sure a lot of people view Mishawaka Marion as the favorite. I kind of view this as a pick-em game because I think both these teams are really good.
Rick, I thought you had a tremendous call to end the semi-state game and tribute to Matt English there to end things last Saturday. And I am expecting a painted Hornet, Mike Chappell, in the front row on Saturday to represent.
It's my Hornet
Beech
buzz.
Grove. That was very clear to me.
I'll share this with you, boys. I got a text from Chappie about the third quarter last week and basically said, "Hey, where can I find the game?" And about 5 minutes later, I got a text from saying, "Hey, you're doing a great job." So I'm glad I could give instructions while I was doing the play-by-play last Saturday.
High school-wise, let's end with the nightcap. I'll have some eyes on it. Cathedral against undefeated Chesterton. We've probably seen in basketball more than football, Rake, but the team from up north that has the better record. Cathedral's got 6 losses. How do you see this one?
I think it's going to be a really good game. Cathedral has more talent. I think that is unquestioned. And I said this from the first time I saw Cathedral this year back on December the 4th when they were taking on one of the better teams in Ohio in Brush, just outside of Cleveland. But talent-wise, I'm not sure anybody matches Cathedral. And here they are playing for a state championship for the first time in 9 years. But Chesterton has found a way, throughout the course of this season. Now, have they played the schedule Cathedral has? Not even close. The strength of schedule for Chesterton is at 79. But they've got something special in that Grayson kid. And again, this is a young man that I'm not sure is going to play Division I basketball. Most of his offers have been at the NAIA level. Some Division IIs are starting to kind of look around at him, and maybe because of this run, maybe he gets a preferred walk-on offer at the Division I level, or maybe he gets a late scholarship in the month of April or May. But let me give you the performances he's had in 2 of their biggest wins. Their biggest regular season game was Valparaiso, next to last Friday of the season, February the 18th. That was for the Duneland Conference Championship, and Valpo was the other top-rated team in 4A in the region this year. Chesterton won 60-57 in overtime, and Travis Grayson had 40 of their 60. Now let's get to last week. They're down 40-34 to Kokomo and getting outclassed because of Kokomo's young talent, their sophomore 6'10" center in Flory Badunga. Travis Grayson proceeds to hit 15 of 16 free throws. Travis Grayson proceeds to score 27 of Chesterton's 42, and they find a way to win that game 42-40. So they have just found a way to win games to get to 29-0. They've got a good amount of size. They don't have somebody that matches up with Booker, but yet they just played a 6'10" player and figured out a way to win that game too. So talent-wise, Cathedral's the better team, but I expect that game to go to the very end because that's just how Chesterton is scrapped all season long.
Before we let you go, Rake, the U.S. men's soccer team inching closer to a World Cup berth with that draw last night?
Generally, you would go any point that you pull from playing at the Azteca is a good thing, and still, it's a good end result for Team USA. That being said, I thought Mexico was bad last night. I'm not sure we were much better. There were really two great scoring opportunities the entire night. They both belong to us. The fact that we didn't hit either one of them is a problem. But going into the final week of qualifying, to get a point in Mexico is exactly how you drew it up. Now you've got to go get 3 points at home against Panama on Sunday. That game is Sunday evening, 7 o'clock down in Orlando. Panama, a team that beat the U.S. in Panama when they played earlier in qualifying. But the U.S. has gotten the full 3 points at home against everyone other than the current top team, which is Canada. So if the U.S. gets 3, it doesn't automatically clinch it. There's still another result that would have to happen. But more or less, win on Sunday, and the U.S. is playing in the World Cup coming up in November. And if you think that's something that should just be guaranteed or should automatically happen, there's probably some truth to that. But this is also the part where I tell you, Italy yesterday was knocked out of the World Cup for a second consecutive cycle. So it happens where some talented nations don't make the World Cup. The U.S. hopes it doesn't happen to them again for a second time. A win on Sunday likely takes care of that.
They play soccer in Canada?
They have not played in the World Cup since 1986. Okay. But they again, maybe not from a talent standpoint, but from how they have played in qualifying, they've been the best team in qualifying, and there's been little doubt about that.
Kevin, you know how to spell Canada, don't you?
Jeez.
C-A-N-A-D-A.
Rake, Sam's asked me this the last couple of weeks, and so I do have one more. Mr. Basketball Race, are we still up for grabs? I kind of forget when voting is.
The votes need to be in by Monday, so it's going to be quick. And when you vote for Mr. Basketball, you vote for the runner-up, and then you vote for 8 additional All-Stars. So whether it's coaches voting, media members voting, that's the way it goes. And those ballots are due by Monday, so you can kind of take in this final day of the season. And I do think it comes down to it. So the two guys that I think that are truly up for it that aren't playing this weekend are the 2 Purdue recruits, are Braden Smith, our Fletcher Lawyer, because of what they have done over the course of the last couple of years. But I do think Connor Esigian at Central Noble, who will finish 10th in the history of Indiana high school basketball in terms of points scored, at over 2,500 career points, he has to be in the mix. He's going to play at Wisconsin, so from a talent standpoint, he clearly can match, what the other kind of, because there's numerous Big Ten recruits in the state this year, and all of them seemingly up for Mr. Basketball. So he is in the mix. And then again, the Grayson kid. And it would be hard if they beat Cathedral, and he's the best player on a 30-0 undefeated 4A state championship team. There's a lot of merit in saying, you know what, that kid needs to be Mr. Basketball. And again, it's potential that he can be Mr. Basketball and not play Division I basketball. And I'm sure it's happened before. I know we've had that in Mr. Football. I'm going to go back about 13
Clayton Richard,
years
right?
when that's been the case. But it is possible that he is Mr. Basketball and not playing at the Division I level next year.
Clayton Richard was Mr. Baseball and Mr. Football, right?
Correct. Yeah, that is correct, yes.
Rake, enjoy tomorrow. I know it's one of your favorite days of the year, and I always enjoy waking up early, or I guess somewhat early, and then getting that 10:30 game started, and certainly be watching tomorrow night with my Irish as well. Thank you, Rake.
You got it, fellas. Take care.
CarX High School Hardwood Rundown right there with Greg Rakestraw. Let's hit a Big O Tires Sportscenter update.
The Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
It was actually Mark Dykton that broke the news before Ball State even put it out there. Mark let us know Ball State has a new head basketball coach. It is UCLA assistant and former Indiana All-Star and player Michael Lewis from Jasper, Indiana.
He's got a big one tonight. UCLA, North Carolina. That's the second game from the East region in Philly. Purdue and St. Peter's will get things started at 7:09. Here was Zach Edey yesterday on Playing Cinderella.
A lot of teams underestimated them. They kind of doubted their ability because of the number next to their name, but we're coming to this game like we're playing the 2 seed because they beat the 2 seed. So we just have to have that mentality that they're a really good team and that we have to respect them.
I kind of like that, Jake.
Yeah. Listen, at this point,
it's a good mindset.
It's really a challenge because a team like St. Peter's, you've been able to hear now for 4 or 5 days about them and see film and everything else, and you know that they are plucky and good. But, you look at Butler's runs, Kevin. I mean, even those of us that follow Butler in year number 2 when they went to the final, you're like, okay, it ends now, right? It ends now, right? It ends now, right? And they just kept going because they were really good. And I think St. Peter's is really good, the way they guard and the determination they have. So for Purdue, I think you got to come out and you got to set the tone right away. What do I always say? You can't let the ankle biters hang around.
Yeah, they did a great job in the first 2 rounds, Purdue, of committing to the post early in the game. Again, got into the bonus super early in the second half against Texas. And as Zach Edey mentioned earlier in the week, a lot of those fouls that weren't being called in the Big Ten were called in week 1 of the tournament. We'll see if that will continue tonight. Again, a 12.5-point favorite, the Boilermakers. Last night, 2 number 1 seeds go down. Jake called it yesterday on the show. Arkansas over Gonzaga, 74-68. And then the second game of the night for a number 1 seed. Houston they just straight up bullied Arizona. Just bullied.
I mean, you said it earlier perfectly. I was tired watching that game, right?
I legitimately sitting there on the couch being like, I am sweating for Arizona trying to get into any offense right now.
It was, the defensive pressure that Houston applied, and then not only does Houston just collapse so quickly all the time, but their ability to move the ball and then at any point, any of the 5 guys on the floor can pull up and shoot from anywhere.
How about Houston lost their 2 best players earlier in the year due to injury?
Sometimes that makes you better, right? Because other guys have to step up, and then you end up getting healthy. Mark, I don't know.
Just crazy what Sampson continues to do.
I got in this morning, and Mark, you were eating Cocoa Puffs, is that right?
Yeah. The cereal of champions.
The cereal of champions, but was it making the cereal that has caused the delay now in the fact that we're an hour and 27 minutes in and we have yet to hear a Razorback?
It's coming. I don't want to play it over the air without, checking it first. But there are multiple. Making sure if it's appropriate, making sure it's not horrible.
Are you afraid?
Are you waiting for HR to drive in, and so they're not listening?
Are you afraid it's a profane Razorback?
But I don't know. We want to get a good one now. We've brought the people such good quality animal noises.
Some of the sounds that have been played this week are illegal in about half the country.
Like there's ones that are just of the football crowd singing it, and you want ones ones that sound bad, like the Panthers guys singing the song.
Right.
You want that?
Razorbacks are known for dropping F-bombs in the middle of their grunts and
so
howls.
You want an actual Razorback, or you want the Pig Suey chant?
Well, both, but I'd like some Razorback. I want to hear a Razorback.
On Saturday, It'll be the Blue Devils and the Razorbacks. That is 8:49. Duke, a 3.5-point favorite.
And we haven't heard any Wildcats yet either, and Villanova won last
the
night.
Wildcats I can get.
That game's in San Francisco. The first game on Saturday, Houston and Villanova. Houston favored by 2.5.
Cougars? Do we have any Cougers, Mark?
You can find that a lot of
bars.
Find
a 6-year-old woman to call in, yeah.
Let's head down to Tiki Bob's.
Houston, Villanova, there will be no shortage of toughness in that matchup. I think I am so impressed by Villanova. Just sound, no panic, late clock. They get into things that they need to. I think that's just going to be a terrific matchup.
You know what I just realized? That's a bobcat, right?
I know, but it's still
Yeah, what's that?
That's the same thing.
No,
it's a bobcat. It's the same video.
We have done this for 5 days now.
Hold on. You know what I just realized? It's taken me this long to realize that we actually have, and I wonder if is this the first time we've had a Sweet 16 matchup of meteorological phenomenons? Do we know? We have a Cyclones taking on the Hurricanes. Who wins that?
That'll be 9:59 tonight. The first game in that region will be Kansas.
Is that Jim Cantori fella doing sidelines for that game?
Providence. Those games are in
got a
Chicago.
nor'easter coming out.
Is he going to have his windbreaker on the sidelines? The Cyclones are moving quickly. Gilligan is taking cover. Here comes the hurricane.
Kevin is wishing he locked the door when you went to go get your phone.
It was a typhoon that was, a typhoon is a hurricane, but of the opposite hemisphere.
10 o'clock. It's coming. The Pacers get smoked last night in Memphis, 133-103. They've played Memphis twice in the last 2 weeks and have lost to them by a combined 63 points. It has been an awful, awful season for the Indiana Pacers. No John Morant, by the way, neither of those two matchups. That's 25 and 49.
That's the truly
on the
amazing
year
thing, right?
With 8 to go. Indiana scholarship-wise, down to 13, the number they need to get to. I expect that number to change even more moving forward. Christian Lander announced in the transfer portal earlier this week. Michael Durr and Parker Stewart joined him yesterday. Again, a lot of movement expected in Bloomington. All right, Joe Wiz is going to join us in 15 minutes to talk more about the matchups, not only for tonight, but looking ahead again to Arkansas and Duke, and then Villanova and Houston on Saturday as well. We'll talk a little Colts when we come back. The restructuring of Matt Ryan's contract, what does that mean for the cap space?
Hey, Indy, one big winners in college hoops and the NBA. Catch me, Joe Wiz, host of The Fine Line, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. right here on The Fan.
Could taxes be dragging down your portfolio? Join Edelman Financial Engines on Tuesday, March 29th at 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern for our brand new virtual event, 6 Tax Smart Investing Strategies. We'll show you why tax-efficient investing makes a big difference and how to make it part of your overall wealth management plan. Register now at planefe.com to learn about tax drag and how you can help overcome it. See how tax loss harvesting can help you offset capital gains, and find out how to make the most of tax-advantaged accounts for retirement, education, and healthcare. Register now, and you'll also get a free retirement review with one of our experienced wealth planners. That's an $800 value. Join us for this special virtual event, 6 Tax Smart Investing Strategies, on Tuesday, March 29th at 3 p.m. or 8 p.m. Eastern. And you'll get a free retirement review by registering now at planefe.com. That's planefe.com. Edelman Financial Engines. From here forward.
Hi, this is Ted Bishop, PGA General Manager at the Legends Golf Club in Franklin. This year we are celebrating our 30th anniversary of being in business, and I want to personally invite you to become a member at our course, which was selected as the 2021 Indiana Golf Course of the Year. We are offering a limited number of 2-year Monday through Friday memberships starting at $199 a year. Yep, you heard it right, only $199 a year, and you can upgrade to a 7-day membership for only $50 per year more. If you ride, you just pay for the golf cart, and if you walk, there's no additional charge. These memberships will expire on December 31 of 2023. Legends has 27 Fazio-designed championship holes. Our regular players will tell you that we are known for great playing conditions and a friendly staff. Join the Legends Golf Club today. Don't delay, because limited spots are available. Call 317-736-8186 or buy online at thelegendsgolfclub.com. And I'll see you on the first tee.
Justin Smith to inbound the basketball. Half-court stripe, Zeller. Here's the shot at the buzzer. He makes it! He made it! Luke Zeller at the buzzer!
I tell you what, Chris, I told you he might be the front runner for Mr. Basketball. That didn't hurt him. That did not hurt him. What a shot and what a heartbreaker for Plymouth and Coach Jack Edison.
Another look at Luke Zeller from just inside the half-court stripe. Hits a shot heard around Indiana, and the Washington Hatchets have won the 3A state title.
And Chris Denari, Luke Zeller did in fact win the 2005 Indiana Mr. Basketball Award. His 3 there, knocking off Plymouth 74-72 in the 2005 3A title game. He finished his career in Washington with 1,727 points. That is more than any player in Washington history, including his two brothers, also Mr. Basketball's Cody Zeller and, of course, Tyler Zeller. Luke Zeller went on to play for Kevin, your Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Indeed, he did. One of the more iconic shots in Indiana high school basketball state history right there. And we'll see. Maybe we'll have another one tomorrow. Class A and 2A, 10:30 and 12:30. And then the 3A and 4A, we just talked about with Greg Rakestraw. You can check that out on the podcast. It is your chance to watch these kids in person before they reach even bigger levels and stardom as well. High school sports are different. Don't miss it. Nothing compares to attending an IHSA basketball state finals game in person.
He is the new quarterback for your Indianapolis Colts.
Okay, we got our guy. We can worry about other stuff now.
Does Matt Ryan make the Colts a Super Bowl threat?
Jimmy, what are we doing?
If you're talking about it,
the Colts just got better quarterback to be part of an organization that has an incredible history.
We're talking about it.
Go get Matt Ryan. And then draft a quarterback.
Matt Ryan, best quarterback in the division.
Your home for Indy sports. 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. It's Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
We have Joe Wiz.
Come on, pig. Piggy. Come on, piggy.
This is what you wanted. I just want that to be perfectly clear to the listener.
Hold on.
You called for this.
No, that's not a pig suey, nor is it a razorback.
I'm just picturing what that video could possibly look like, and now I just am scarred for the rest of the day.
I literally put in razorback call, and it came up hog calling contest at the Illinois State Fair, and these people are fascinating.
Can we hear the winner?
Fascinating is probably one way to put it.
Do we have the winning audio?
Are there winners?
No, all losers in that sense there.
This is the winner.
Well, this is just a guy calling a pig. I want to hear an actual... Does he make pig noises?
As I look down at my phone and
this woman is something else.
See our boss saying, "Kevin, get the show back on the rails."
Is that... Hold on. Is that's a person?
That's a woman.
Freddie. Fred!
Okay.
That's a guy just lost finding his friend Fred.
Unbelievable.
Okay, Kevin, as you were.
Jake, the Colts have restructured Matt Ryan's contract. Your thoughts on what that means?
Well, listen, it's only good if you use that money to do something with it, right? I mean, if you've refinanced your house, that's great, unless like you just decide to let the extra money blow out the backyard. What are they going to do with the money that they've restructured? Are they going to go out and get him some weapons?
Well, who? I mean, that
fair point at this point, right? I don't know what they're...
You look at the wide receiver market, and at this point, and Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a bunch of dudes over 30, right? Yep. Marquez Valdes-Scantling comes off the board yesterday to Kansas City. And this comes back to our point yesterday. Kansas City just traded away Tyreek Hill and now have a wideout core of Juju Smith-Schuster, McCole Hardman, and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, which would pale in comparison to what the Colts have here.
Mm-hmm.
And again, traded away really a generational player in Tyreek Hill. Jarvis Landry,
he's like the only...
And he's 29, has
yeah.
battled some injury. Like, is Devontae Parker going to get traded from the Dolphins? I think that's always kind of been a rumor name, a little bit of a bigger body guy. But when you look specifically at receiver, unless you're praying and hoping that Julio Jones and T.Y. Hilton have something left in the tank, I don't know. And I think it's a huge mistake. Huge mistake.
Now, one of the players... I mean, look, we saw yesterday, Kevin, to answer your question on Matt Ryan restructuring, we saw yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever it was that Tyreek Hill was traded, what happens when you have too much money invested in your quarterback. You know, it actually, the way salaries are going now and the way salaries have increased versus the cap itself, the Colts better, or people in Indianapolis, should be glad that Peyton Manning came along and that era did when it did, because in today's day, Peyton Manning would be getting like $60 million a year. There's no way then you're able to pay Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Edgerrin James, Dwight Freeney, Bob Sanders, Robert Mathis, Tarek Glenn.
But money isn't an issue here.
But what you're seeing, no, I get it. What you're seeing is, though, to answer your question, it is good to restructure Matt Ryan to as much as it is possible, even though I realize Matt Ryan and Patrick Mahomes are two different ages and everything else. You want to limit yourself from the situation that, as much as possible, that Kansas City's in, where you have to start fire sailing. You just don't want to have to do fire sales. That's the bottom line. By the way, somebody asked, and this is a good question, the Iowa State Cyclones Miami Hurricanes game tonight, is that mandatory after the game they do a court storm? That's an excellent question somebody asked. Isn't it?
You know me. I mean, you storm after every game.
Are you
You pay to enter the building, you should be able to exit off the floor.
Wow, okay.
Court storm, neutral sites.
Have you ever stormed a court?
I have. It gets really claustrophobic. Really.
Where did you court storm?
Oh God, one of those early Crean wins that were just horrible. I mean, Minnesota.
We beat athletes in action. Storm the court.
I think like Hibbert was courtside. One of those games where Crean celebrated in the lobby.
Illinois, right? Didn't Crean go up and he was high-fiving the popcorn vendor?
Sounds right. $22 million, I believe, is the number for the Colts right now. That is plenty. I mean, that's plenty to go make really two notable moves. And I look at the three positions. I guess I should probably throw a defensive back in there, but I mainly look at wide receiver, tight end, left tackle. It sounds like left tackle. They're going to stick with Matt Pryor. Tight end, though. I think tight end's more dried up than wide receiver.
What about Tyrann Mathieu? Would you take a look at him? He's not signed yet anywhere, right?
I would. I have more of the question of, does Mathieu see, guaranteed playing time here? And a lot of that, I think, is dependent on Julian Blackmon.
And, Kevin, I think that's also a position where it's very easy to fall in love with where a guy's been versus where he is.
Yeah, I would think Mathieu brings a bit of an edge to that defense, which I think is needed. I think a little bit of an edge. I thought Danico Autry had some of that. Nowhere near as vocal, I think, as Mathieu. But I thought you lost some of that when Autry walked out the door, not to mention just a versatile guy that produces at a pretty high level. I think Ngakoue brings a little bit of that to you. But I think Tyrann Mathieu, physically, is he the same player he was 3 or 4 years ago? Probably not. But again, I think he's going to bring, or would bring, an edge that you would like. I feel like I've heard Pittsburgh with Mathieu.
And again, I want to go back to Tyrann Mathieu came into the NFL with some red flags, but I don't think that I will give him credit. He matured, and I don't think those have followed him into the league, have they?
No, I don't.
I mean, he was dismissed at LSU, and then I think since coming into the league, if I'm not mistaken. How old is he?
He's got to be in his 30s, right?
Yeah, and I mean, he's played a lot of places at this point. He will turn 30 in May. Boy, he's been around a long time. You don't realize that, right?
The Colts in-house free agents that remain unsigned, free to go anywhere. Marlon Mack, T.Y. Hilton, Eric Fisher, Chris Reed, Kamoko Ture, Xavier Rhodes, and Michael Badgley. So some notable names on that list. Someone just texted me, I think it was Ian. Go get T.Y. Hilton, go get Jarvis Landry. Jake, it's such just
Jarvis Landry's numbers really dropped, Kevin. They really dropped.
And I guess it was Hilton, Julio Jones, and then maybe Jarvis Landry. Again, you're not going to get all three of those. An off season of a re-sign of T.Y. Hilton and an outside signing of Julio Jones to me, that's disappointing at wide receiver. At that point, you're hoping for health, and you're hoping for. Is there a position that you see Father Time catch up to it quicker than a wide receiver?
Corner. 6 to 1, half dozen the other, right?
Yeah, out on an island.
Yeah.
Every little nick and bruise is exposed even more. That was Julio last year, right?
There's no doubt that when you fall off that cliff, it is. Have you ever been skydiving?
No.
Mark, you ever skydive?
Afraid of heights.
No.
When you skydive, if you do it in a group setting, I mean, it's not like you're skydiving as a group, but you do the tandem jump and you're scooting up to the door. And when the guy in front of you goes, or gal, when the pair goes, they jump out, and you scoot up to the edge, and they're gone. I mean, it's like, well, where do they go? I mean, you don't see them falling. They are instantly out of sight. And that's kind of how wide receivers are. When it goes and they fall off that cliff, Kevin, it's gone. And there's no getting it back more often than not. I mean, there are receivers that can extend their career. Reggie Wayne did this very well by learning how to go from being stretch receiver to possession receiver. Reggie Wayne extended his career probably 4 years doing that. And
but
was
once that injury
at
hit Reggie.
You're right.
Now, granted, it was ACL. It was serious, but T.Y.'s had a lot of lower body stuff lately. Julio Jones, a hamstring last year. We'll see how it plays out.
And once you start overcompensating, you're in trouble, right?
NFL owners' meetings next week, so we'll get some updates from Jim Irsay, Chris Ballard, Frank Reich down there in Florida, not to mention some league-wide news as well. All right, make some money for this weekend. Joe Wiz joins us next. Kevin and Corey, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Hey, it's Stan Dockage here for my friends at AAA. You and I both know it is pothole season, man. It is crazy out there. You hit a pothole, you get a flat tire. Some of you have got multiple flats. You got to keep your head on a swivel, and you got to go slow. Do you really want to change a flat? Really? On the side of the road, cars and trucks zooming by 75 miles an hour. You got people not paying attention on phones. I do not. So get in the club. Do yourself a favor and join AAA today. At AAA, in the club, you get a flat tire fix, dead battery fix. You run out of gas, they come. Lock your keys in the car. AAA is there 24/7, 365. To get your AAA membership, visit AAA.com or call 844-GO-AAA-GO or stop by your local AAA office. And don't forget to ask about complimentary travel planning, great insurance rates as well, home, auto, life, and more. Because you don't have to be stuck on the side of the road to get assistance from AAA.
The Fed has raised rates.
But there's still time to lock in Golden Oak Lending's low 2.875% rate.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With home values at all-time highs and our low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home.
Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Lending cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 2.875% fixed, 3.976% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
Gorgeous gaming, stunning streams, unbelievable bandwidth. Welcome to another Lifestyles of Gagillionaires. Meet the AT&T Fiber customers winning at life with hyper-gig speeds. Say hello to the Walkers, a family of not one but 4 Gagillionaires, each living up their Gagillionaire life at ludicrous internet speed. First up, Anna Walker. She dominates streaming like the matriarch she is. No show ever goes unwatched under her watch.
Next episode.
Next up, Peter Walker. There's no stopping this dad bod from showing up to his virtual workout sessions.
Let's go leg day.
And finally, the Walker twins. They may look alike but couldn't internet more differently. Harry dominates his fellow online gamers while Heather group video chats with friends.
Ooh, nice background filter, Jess.
Live like a Gagillionaire. Get internet that upgrades everything. AT&T Fiber, now with speeds up to 5 gigs.
Limited availability in select areas. Speeds not guaranteed. Single device wired speed. Max 4.7 gig per second. Visit att.com/hypergig for details.
BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks, unleashes the spirit of Las Vegas with BetMGM rewards. Every time you make a wager at BetMGM, you can earn BetMGM rewards points that you can redeem for online bonus credits like free bets and risk-free tokens. Planning a trip to Vegas? You can also convert your BetMGM points into MGM rewards points that you can use towards dining, shows, and hotel rooms at over 20 MGM Resorts properties located on the Las Vegas Strip and nationwide. BetMGM Rewards is sports betting's premier loyalty program featuring exclusive offers, incredible experiences, and valuable perks when you wager on the BetMGM app. Sign up with BetMGM or log on today to get an even bigger piece of the action with BetMGM Rewards. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 21 years of age or older to wager. Indiana only. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Start a new career with a job that keeps your community safe. The Marion County Sheriff, Carrie Forrestal, is hiring detention deputies to work in the brand new Community Justice Center. You'll supervise and guard offenders, making Marion County a better place to live. Starting pay begins at around $40,000 a year with a $5,000 signing bonus. Enjoy great benefits like complete health coverage and pension plan. Start your career as a detention deputy and earn the respect of your community. Apply today at joinmcso.indy.gov.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
Soccer Saturday featuring Indy 11. If this is your football, this is your show. Saturday at 9 on The Fan.
Money, 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 money.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, yeah. Making a little money. Although, if you listened to us yesterday, right, you had to have made something.
We called it. Do we have that audio, Mark? Before we get to Joe Wiz, this was the end of the show yesterday.
And Joe Wiz was probably on it because he likes the dogs.
Yeah?
He likes the dogs. We were able to get both of those.
All right, this Arkansas shocks the world yesterday.
Jake, tell me more.
Woo, pig suey. Arkansas shocks the world.
God, I love Villanova. It is a 1-point spread, Arizona. We got 20 seconds. Mark?
Houston wins.
There's a 1C going down for Mark. Gosh, I had a lot of wild noises there in the final segment.
You were at the hog calling contest.
I think the animals are rubbing off on us. All right, let's get the expert on the line to get us set for tonight and tomorrow. He is Joe Wiz. You'll hear him tomorrow, the Fein line, 8 o'clock right here on The Fan. Joe, got to go with the Boilers first. 12.5-point spread. Purdue has not been great against the spread lately. It's the biggest of any of the Sweet 16 teams. St. Peter's, the hottest team in college basketball. Good morning, and your thoughts on that one.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on. Yes, St. Peter's College is just about 4 miles from where I am. Nobody knows where they are, but they're in Jersey City, right on Montgomery Street. I used to play basketball there at the Yanatili Center, and the Peacocks have come in with a record of 21-11, and it's amazing. Their spread record is 23-9 against the spread. They've won 9 in a row, and everyone's talking about them playing in the MAC conference. But hey, look at what they've done in the last 2 games. They beat a high-flying Murray State 70-60 as an 8-point dog, and of course one of the biggest upsets ever, perhaps the biggest one, knocking off Kentucky 85-79. When you look at Purdue, going into this tournament, they were 0-10 against the spread, but lately they've been playing better, right? So they are 81-71 over Texas, and they beat Yale 78-56. So they covered both of those games. St. Peter's plays very good defense, okay? And we've seen a lot of dogs covered in these tournaments here. I'm not expecting an upset, but I am taking the points with St. Peter's. I think that they could keep this. If they could keep it a low-scoring game, the total is 134, okay? If they could keep this in the 60s, I think they have a chance of covering. Do they have a chance of pulling an upset? Very slim, but getting the cover, which is what I'm interested in. I'm taking the dog plus the 12.5 with St. Peter's.
When you look, Joe Wiz, at the teams that are playing tonight or that remain in the tournament, what is the one that, despite the fact that they might be a high seed or win a lot of games, what is the one that you would tell people stay away from them? They don't cover. They're not good against the spread. Don't play it.
Well, Purdue is probably one of the teams right there because they're under 500. But you have Kansas. I mean, all the seeds have gone down. Providence gets no respect. All they've done is won the Big East title. Kansas is favored by 7. It wouldn't shock me if Providence wins that game outright. They're getting 7, but Providence is the play there. Miami, Iowa State's a toss-up. And, of course, North Carolina right now might be playing the best ball out of everyone there. And they're getting 2.5 points here. They might have the wrong team favored here based on the way these two teams have been playing the last couple of weeks. North Carolina has done really well. They knocked off Baylor. Don't forget they beat Duke at Cameron a couple of weeks ago, and they've been rolling. So they knocked off number 1 Baylor, and UCLA is banged up a little bit here, so it wouldn't shock me if North Carolina knocks off UCLA. I'm going to be talking about all the tournament games tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. on Fine Line, which is brought to us by Bet Rivers. I have all the big winners, college basketball, NBA. We'll be talking a little bit of horse racing. A lot of stuff going on, guys. Of course, tomorrow some compelling matchups as well.
The Joe Wiz, it's the Fine Line, like you said, 8 a.m. tomorrow right here on the Fan. The two games he'll be talking about certainly tomorrow, and I'm sure looking ahead to Sunday's games as well. But we've got the lines out already, Joe. Houston -2.5 over Villanova. Duke -3.5 over Arkansas. Again, those Elite Eight matchups tomorrow. Your early thoughts on those two?
Yeah, when you look at it here, Houston, I mean, they just played ferocious. If Houston takes the lead, they never look back. I don't think they trail in any of these tournament games here. They're favored by 2.5 over Villanova. The total's at 128. That line is at Bet Rivers. Anyone that wants to get down on the action at betrivers.com. And, Villanova, like I said, they've been playing well, but Michigan did not play well yesterday. Michigan had many opportunities against Villanova. They just weren't able to put layups in. Houston is a very defensive team. They're bigger and stronger, and now they're favorites. So we've seen Houston as an underdog, but here they're favored over Villanova. Colin Gillespie, one of the star players for Villanova, got hurt last night. Pay attention to if he plays enough. I'm expecting him to, but if he doesn't, then Cougars roll. But I still think that Villanova's going to have a tough time here. The lines are 2.5 at Bet Rivers. I'm leaning towards the right now early preliminary feel on this game is to go with Houston. As far as Duke and Arkansas, hey, Arkansas just knocked off Gonzaga, and Duke now is the favorite because Duke was a pick'em against Texas Tech. I even seen some 1 points there. I'm going to wait for tomorrow on the show. I'm going to have some more information on that game. Again, the Fine Line will be on at 8 a.m. Tomorrow we'll be talking about all the tournament games. We'll have some NBA stuff, including Brooklyn, Miami. What's going on in Miami? Is Jimmy Butler going to start another fight with his coach, Spoelstra? We got the $12 million Dubai World Cup horse racing, the Louisiana Derby, the road to the Kentucky Derby. So a lot of action happening, guys. And, of course, anyone who wants to follow me on Twitter, I give out free picks every day. Joe with Sports every day, 7 days a week. Joe with Sports, and it's the tournament. So I wonder how many more brackets are out there that are still alive.
Man, I'll tell you what. When you look at the fact that first time I think since 13 that we only have one number one seed that's going to be in the Elite Eight, and that's if Kansas wins. So I would think not a lot of brackets still standing. But again, Fine Line tomorrow. You can find out all the latest, in particular after the games tonight. Joe, appreciate it. Enjoy the games. All right.
All right, guys. Thanks very much.
Joe Wiz on the Payless Liquors.
We got to look at where we stand bracket wise right now.
Oh, I'm completely shot, right?
Jay, if you would have done the Sweet 16 bracket, you'd be sitting gold right now.
Yeah, I mean after last night, right? Let me see if I'm
pulling it up right now. Let's do that when we come back. We'll take a look at where things stand bracket-wise, touch on Purdue tonight, Jake's level of worry. Yale, not 1 ounce of worry I had for Purdue. I'm not too worried about this matchup, but interested to hear your guys' thoughts on that as well. We'll set the scene for the Sweet 16 as well. And a Freebie Friday pop quiz coming up. 9 o'clock hour on a Friday. Kevin and Query, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Gus Bradley, who is the new defensive coordinator of the Colts.
I think as a defensive coordinator, you're always looking at that fourth quarter rush and how important it is. It wins games for you. It starts up front with our defensive line, and then we build around that. And those cover corners, especially in our style of play, I mean, we're going to be aggressive on the perimeter. You see a lot of press coverage. We've got to win, at the line of scrimmage.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6
on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
There's never been a better time for a cash-out refinance. Apply online today at thehomeloanexpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
Spring is upon us at Sundown Gardens. Fresh shipments of nursery stock, pansies, and pottery arriving daily. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com.
Every dribble, every pass, and every bucket, all in the palm of your hand. Because now you can sign up and bet. No strings attached with Bet Rivers Sportsbook app featuring award-winning customer service. Live in-game bets, player props, and instant betting bucket to bucket. Don't miss out on all the big games. Get in the action with Bet Rivers Sportsbook app.
Must be 21. Must be located in Indiana. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 1-800-994-8448.
Spring is here, and so are the great deals and service at Payless Liquors. Bottles of Oliver Sweet Red and White are only $6.99. Kendall Jackson Vintners Reserve Chardonnay $9.99, and Stella Rosa $11.99. Stock up on the 1.75-liter bottles and make some great drinks for the tournament with Grey Goose. It's only $39.99. Old Forester $29.99, and the big bottle of Evan Williams is just $22.99. At all 26 Payless Liquor locations, open 7 days a week, and online at PaylessLiquors.com. Don't pay more, get more, pay less at Payless Liquors.
Rob Zombie, Mudvayne, Freaks on Parade Tour. Zombie, Mudvayne, together. This trip is for real. July 21st, Ruoff Music Center with Static X and Powerman 5000. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Zombie, Mudvayne, part of the Coors Light concert series.
Hi, it's Bob from Royal Spa. Soaking in a hot tub of Epsom salts is the absolute best way to minimize everyday aches and pains. And we know all about Epsom salts at Royal Spa. Royal Spa is the only hot tub manufacturer on the market today that can safely and effectively use Epsom salts. Royal Spa hot tubs are the highest quality hot tubs on the market. Stop into any of our 3 Indianapolis locations today or visit us online at royalspa.com.
Ah, Royal Spa.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BB, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis.
Join me today. We're going to talk Purdue taking on St. Peter's in the Sweet 16. Jason Hammer's going to join us. Kevin Bowen's going to join us. The Cashman. I can't wait. Join me today, noon to 3.
Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Now, is that a guy or is that an actual Razorback?
I've gone away from the Illinois State Fair sounds. This is an actual boar, apparently.
Imagine the FCC fines.
No animals were harmed during the recording of this audio.
I beg to differ. What in the world? Is there a mascot, Razorback mascot? I mean, can we get a live Razorback? You know, like Butler Blue?
I went
Big Red.
In 1991, I was a freshman at the University of Kansas. And we did what's called walkout. When you're a pledge in a fraternity house, you walk out for the weekend. And, of course, you think that, like, you're doing this big – you have no idea that the whole thing, they know exactly what you're doing. But we did our quote-unquote walkout and went to the University of Arkansas and stayed at the Fidelt House at the University of Arkansas, where 2 of the guys in my pledge class ended up getting into a wrestling match and shattering their huge – they had a glass Razorback, like a huge – in the lobby of the Fidelt House at the University of Arkansas, this huge glass Razorback, and 2 of the guys from my pledge class were wrestling each other and shattered it, knocked into it, and crashed it, and broke. We're like, yeah, this is probably not a good situation.
What conference was that?
The Southwest Conference back then, which was, I can tell you right now, you ready? Now, Kevin, will you, and people on the YouTube can see here, I am not looking up anything, right?
Well, last night was a good night for the
Southwest Conference. How about this? Texas, Texas Tech, TCU, Baylor, Arkansas, Rice, SMU, and Houston. So Houston, Texas Tech, I mean, the old Southwest Conference was rolling. I guess Texas Tech got beat, but you had Houston, you had Arkansas. But at any rate, I went and saw a Baylor versus Arkansas football game in 1990, in the fall of 91. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, the final was like 9-0 or something. But those people did the Woo Pig Suey chant the entire game. Literally, it was. And Arkansas is a beautiful state. It really is. But it was nothing but a bunch of 5'9", 205-pound guys drinking Keystone Light. That's exactly what it was.
Your level of concern, if any, for Purdue tonight?
I think it's... Look, St. Peter's is loosey-goosey, right? At this point. I mean, who knows
if... too loosey-goosey? A whole week of NIL
who knows if Doug Eater, might be stuffed up on BW3 now. Listen.
They do every interview in the moon right now.
There's a level of concern. Here's the thing. This is a no-win situation for Purdue this round. Because if they win, they're supposed to win.
Yeah, just getting to the Elite Eight is not going to be job accomplished this season. Woo!
Correct. They need, and there is so much focus for this Purdue team. So much focus, Kevin, on the Final Four, that's the danger. The danger lies in, because there's so much focus on the Final Four, of overlooking this round and just thinking of what like you forget oh man, I forget. We still got one more game after this. You know, we still got a game to play before UCLA, North Carolina is what I'm getting at. Because when St. Peter's knocked off Murray State, I think there are people that thought like, oh my goodness, like the gates just completely opened. Well, listen, I mean, these guys are here because they beat Kentucky, for crying out loud. They beat Kentucky, right? Now, Kentucky, the St. Peter's that Kentucky faced, you can bet, was not near as scrutinized as the St. Peter's Purdue's facing. But still, they can play and they can guard you. The longer you let them hang around and think that they're supposed to be there, you're in trouble. How many games did Butler win in those tournament runs that it was because whoever they were playing were like, yeah, I mean, look, I know they upset
I mean, to be fair,
Syracuse,
Butler was
but they
a
ain't gonna beat
5
us.
seed and an 8.
I mean, you're right.
15 seed is a different animal.
It is.
I think the fact that St. Peter's
it's not an animal, though. It's a peacock, right? We know that much, right? We know that the animal makes one noise, but a peacock is just a bird.
55 minutes. 55 minutes. I'm not. 12 and a half is a big number, but I think Purdue will be more disciplined than Kentucky in continuing to pound the ball down low. I think they'll get to the foul line. And while St. Peter's has, a bunch of 6'7", 6'8" guys and some length, I just still think, similar, honestly, to Houston last night, it's just a unique matchup when you see Purdue firsthand. And then just when you think you're committed to stopping the post, here comes the fastest dude in college basketball with the ball, and he's at the rim before you can blink.
I mean, there's no doubt about the fact that Purdue, from a size advantage, I mentioned this earlier. I want to get back to this, Kevin. And I know that it's a disrespect to Purdue and their fans to equate them to Indiana. Purdue has elevated its program. Purdue's the best college basketball program in the state of Indiana right now and has been for a number of years.
Oh, yeah. I mean, last handful of years, they're in two different stratospheres.
Correct.
When you compare the NCAA tournament.
So it's unfair to Purdue. It's a disrespect to equate them to Indiana University. I get that. So I'm speaking now to Indiana fans. So Purdue fans, earmuffs. Please keep listening to the program, but
we promise no peacock sounds.
Right. Well, no promise.
Promise anything.
I was gonna say. I will, but I know these two won't.
Indiana fans, if you are like me, I'd like for you to name Mark Dykton for me a year from 1984 to 1990. Off the top of your head.
1985.
Mark was born in one of those years.
Well, 85 was a rough one because that was Bob Knight's losingest team in Indiana in his 29 years, but we'll stick with that. The 85 Indiana roster, a lot of promise heading into that year. You had Steve Alford, who was basically an All-American Mr. Basketball. You had Delray Brooks, All-American Mr. Basketball, Parade All-American, Michigan City. You had Uwe Blop, international player that panned out, transfer student, came from Germany through Illinois, Effingham, developed before Indiana's eyes over the course of his career. And then you had role players that were young from the Illinois or Indiana areas, okay? And by the time, of course, in 87, they were national champions. If you look at the teams that Indiana fans fell in love with, the blueprint of it, Indiana high school players, complimentary players from Chicagoland area or Cincinnati area, international player that developed. Those are the teams that Indiana fell in love with. The blueprint, the Bob Knight way. Purdue, right now. Mason Gillis, Newcastle, Indiana, role player, does what he needs to do. Makes plays that aren't even designed through him. Jaden Ivey, Indiana kid, developing right before your very eyes. Sasha Stavanovich, Indiana guy, can shoot the ball. Grew up shooting the ball, Indiana high school basketball, disciplined player. Trevion Williams, man amongst boys, Chicagoland player, senior. It is the exact blueprint that Indiana basketball fans fell in love with under Bob Knight. Matt Painter, who grew up an Indiana fan, I'm not saying that he's patterned after Bob Knight, but what Purdue is doing right now is exactly what Indiana fans fell in love with about their program and sit around over campfires talking about how much they long to get back to. If you are longing for that in Indiana, it's still taking place. It is still there, and it is still winning games deep into the tournament. It's just now wearing black and gold at Purdue.
Yeah, salt meat wound.
Definitely. But you know what? kudos to Purdue.
Oh,
kudos to Matt Painter and Elliot Bloom and that staff for putting it together and developing and cultivating a system and a program that guys know exactly what's expected of them when they get there. They play hard. They play together. Their practice shorts on the butt say play hard, and that's what they do. Now, their defense probably has not been typical Purdue defense this year, but they can make up for it because of their athleticism and a guy like Jaden Ivey.
Well,
right?
Jake, I'll take it a step further. In today's college basketball, they are a reason to get behind a certain team. They are kind of an outlier in today's college basketball. It's not transfer portal U. It's not one and done U.
Did you see of the remaining schools in the NCAA tournament, Purdue, the players that have scored a point for Purdue this year have played 100% of their college basketball games at Purdue. They're the only program that can say that.
Yeah, I saw that stat. Yeah, I mean, it's there have been transfers that don't act like Painter hasn't taken them, certainly. But and this is why I don't laugh so much at the lack of character debate, things like that. Because think about Travion Williams, Jake. I mean, he entered this season as one of the best players in college basketball, and yet has accepted a role coming off the bench that I don't think 95% of college basketball players wouldn't have done. So they have also recruited the right guy, not to mention put the puzzle together in a very, very effective way. If we want to look ahead to the Elite Eight, UCLA, Carolina, if you're a Purdue fan, who'd you rather see?
I think I would rather see, honestly, I'd rather see UCLA because I think North Carolina is really dangerous right now.
Not a lot of depth, though, with Carolina.
Yeah, but man,
And they really struggled in the first matchup with Purdue. Now, would Devil's Advocate say, well, they've seen Purdue already, they'd be better equipped to they wouldn't be awestruck by what Purdue can kind of throw at you early in a game.
239-1070 is the telephone number. Let's go to Bill.
Hey, guys.
Not Boiler Bill. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Hey, guys. Big fan of the show. Listen to you guys every morning.
Thanks, Bill.
Just want to call and, you guys probably are alienating, a good portion of your audience here with, the peacock noises, the disrespect. I'm not expecting you guys to be, huge fans. I know everybody IU fan in the studio, but at least try and be neutral a little bit.
Who are we disrespecting?
Purdue fans with the peacock noises every 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
You don't think it's 30 minutes? Yeah. I mean, what, you don't feel that? Or see that?
No, I don't. I think you're probably the only one that does.
Bill, to be fair, we've been playing the peacock noises since they beat Kentucky.
Hey,
there.
Bill, I just got up off my knees about Purdue basketball.
No, this is the most coverage we've gotten in the last 3 months, but I know you guys not trying to be a downer here, but Purdue's made a great run here. Let's rally around them, right? Let's all get to the Final Four. Let's get a championship here, right?
Are you sweating St. Peter's?
No, but we're not taking them for granted.
No, and that's a good approach. I don't think, kidding aside and flippancy aside, Bill, I don't think that anybody really thinks that we're playing the peacock sound because we are leading a pep rally for St. Peter's.
No,
right?
We're playing it because Jake's obsessed with animals.
I mean, it was kind of fun. It was kind of funny for a while, but then after a while, it gets a little too much.
Appreciate it, Bill. Thank you. Boy, we've had two ends of the spectrum with the Purdue calls today. Boiler Bill and that Bill.
I've always said this. Take either school. I could stand on a billboard on 465 with a megaphone and chant, IU sucks 364 days a year, and then on February 9th go, Purdue sucks in the megaphone, and a year later run into somebody and then go, you're the guy that stood on a billboard on 465 chanting how Purdue sucks, and vice versa. I remember Ed Sorensen telling me when I was coming up at Channel 6, and he's like, Jake, I've never seen anything with the IU-Purdue thing. It is the most no-win rivalry of all time. And he's right. And I get it. I love it. I love the passion from both sides. I absolutely love it.
I think we have painted a pretty glowing picture, deservedly so, Jake, of Purdue.
Totally.
Certainly on this show. Boy, if you've listened to any show all week long, it would certainly be that. I mean, hell, Bill, I have a heavy financial stake in Purdue getting it done.
And the Peacock sounds are not to offend Purdue fans. I'm trying to get it made the state bird of Indiana. That's my goal here.
You know, it's the Cardinal, the state bird, right?
I know.
It's literally
Cardinal out.
Yeah, literally where
they stink at baseball. No.
Cardinal have the new basketball coach, Michael Lewis, the new head basketball coach at Ball State. That coming out today. Chirp, chirp, right? That's right. Do we have a Cardinal sound to balance things out?
I can find one.
Mike, save us. Hi, Mike. Good morning to you.
Hey, Jake, how you doing this morning, sir?
Doing fine, thanks.
All right, I got a question. Has it ever happened in the history of the tournament that all 4 number 1 seeds, as I predicted before the tournament, didn't make the Elite 8?
The Elite 8. That's a good question. There have been 2 times where there was not an Elite. Well, there have been only twice have all of the number 1 seeds not been, like, only twice has there been a Final Four with no number 1 seed. So I'd have to look at those years and see if
Elite
those teams were all eliminated
though.
before. Yeah, I mean, that's possible, right?
Of the top 6 seeds when the tournament started, if you look at how they ranked them 1 to 68, the committee, Kansas is the only one left. Obviously,
and Kansas is usually one of the number 1 seeds to go down early, right?
Obviously, you have the 3 1 seeds that have now gone out with Arizona and Gonzaga losing last night, but then Baylor, Kentucky and Auburn, I should say, as well. Matchup that you're looking forward to the most tonight. Again, Purdue St. Peter's, Carolina UCLA, Kansas Providence, Miami Iowa State. I don't think as marquee of a slate as we had last night.
I think you've got to go. I mean, look, that Carolina UCLA game is massive, I think, right?
Yeah, I would say that's probably the one. That's a 2.5 point spread, UCLA favored.
I'm looking here at 2011, there was no number 1 seed in the Final Four in 2011 was a 3 and 8, a 4 and an 11. Woof, right?
Who was that year? UConn?
2011 was correct. UConn was the 3 seed and won it all. Butler 8, Kentucky 4th, VCU was in 11. I mean, there's obviously a number 1. That's one of only 2 years. So then you got to look at who they each defeated in the regional finals. Don't get old like me because then the years all run together in your mind, right?
It's just like us looking up how many Indiana teams made the tournament in 2007. Didn't all 7 make it in that one year?
We sat there and just looked and looked and looked. The 2011 tournament bracket, if you look at the regional finals, Kentucky defeated 3 seed Carolina, so no Elite 8. No number 1 there, no number 1 in the West. Michael, we might have your answer.
We got a text.
All of the number 1s. No, I take that back. Number 1 seeded Kansas was defeated in the Sweet 16. No, Kansas was defeated in the Elite 8, so they did make it. So there was 1. Same as this year. 2011, same as this year. Kansas, the only number 1 that made it possibly into the Elite 8.
There's a text and a tweet that I wanted to read here, kind of about this Purdue-IU debate. Got a text, I'm not sure the name on it. Unknown numbers text me. Purdue fan here. Think the Peacock sound is funny. Do wish there was more Purdue talk rather than Colts and Dane Fife. And I'm talking indie sports radio in general. Like the last talk about how Purdue is what Indiana basketball was in the 80s when I grew up. It is spot on. Keep up the good work. I think it's a very fair statement there. Sam says this, as an IU fan, I was nodding my head as Jake was talking about how Purdue is built and was starting to think about how I want to see Purdue win the whole thing. And then Bill calls in and reminds everyone of the little brother syndrome that Purdue fans suffer from.
I think that's a fair statement. I
don't know if that was a great call from Bill for the old Purdue faithful. You could make an argument that both Bills hurt the Purdue fan base today.
Fair enough. Time, by the way, for a Big O Tires Sportscenter update.
The Sportscenter update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
NBA last night, it was Memphis over the Pacers, 133-103. Rick Carlisle, for family purposes, was not on the sidelines, meaning he did not see Jaren Jackson score 20 or Richmond's Desmond Bane 30 for Memphis. Indiana was led by Lance Stevenson, who had 25 last night, Terry Taylor 17. My concern, Kevin, is that if Lance Stevenson is leading you in scoring in 2022, it probably is not a good sign.
Just a horrific performance by the Pacers, and that was what you saw, right? When they played Memphis a couple weeks ago as well?
Totally. I mean, when I saw him, no Ja Morant here, And the Pacers were down close to 40 in the third quarter, and it was like, what is going on?
And that was last night as well. Desmond Bain had 30. The Richmond native was outstanding. I think it's going to be fun to watch Memphis try to make a run there in the Western Conference. The Pacers now 25-49. Jake, it's taken until the final Big O Tires SportsCenter update of the day, but I believe it's time for a tankathon.
Oh, well, please allow me.
And in the very, watch one game last night and overreact to NBA draft prospects, I would say Paulo Banchero, pretty safe.
Over Chet Holmgren, right?
And Chet is going to take a very risky GM, I think so? To pull off that pick.
All right, here we go, the simulator. With the first pick in the 2022 NBA mock draft,
it's Chet.
The Indiana Pacers select Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga University. The Detroit Pistons are on the clock. Look, right here, you can even see it. I did not doctor this.
Cue the Razorback sounds there.
Get your damn act together.
Selection. Percentage of the fan base that would like that, Jake, at number 1 overall.
I remember in 1988 when they drafted Rick Smits and people started chanting, Walsh must go.
Clearly, Tankathon didn't watch the game last night.
Hey, he did hit. At one point, he hit like 4 straight mid-range jumpers, and they're like, here comes Chet Holmgren. He did. I will say this in defense of Chet Holmgren.
He's got a beautiful-looking jump shot.
And he's 7 foot whatever he is, right?
Exactly.
The only problem is he's 195 pounds. But his last foul, he fouled out last night, and his last foul was completely bogus.
I hated that call.
He was standing completely straight up.
Seaberg has tweeted at us and said, hashtag Purdue Bill, and it is a gif of a peacock. Yeah, any chance of Jake's hope earlier in the show of IU fans cheering for Purdue tonight, I think might have gone out the window.
Oh, I wasn't saying hope.
With that final
I'm realistic.
And I'm pretty sure this is the last day we're playing the peacock sound, because I think come Monday, I'll be putting the peacock out to pasture.
St. Peter's homecoming football game this fall, you're going to be dialing
I hope I get invited.
Back up. Again, last night, Arkansas over Gonzaga, 74-68. Duke outlasts Texas Tech, 78-73. That was the game of the night, I thought. Duke didn't miss a shot in the final 9 minutes, James.
Yeah, they were red hot, right?
And that's a bunch of freshmen
out
there.
Heck of a game, though. There were some great games last night.
Great game. Villanova 63-55, typical Villanova fashion. How about this, Jake? In the last 6 tournaments, Jay Wright, 19-3.
Big fan of Jay Wright, man. I told you last year
when
the
best coach in college basketball?
I think he is. I mean, right now, he's way up there. Here's what I like about him, Kevin. Last year, NCAA tournament and exclusivity in Indiana. Every team's here. I was at one of the hotels and asked several people on the staff, okay, all the schools stayed in this hotel at the very beginning of the tournament. Who jumps out at you? And across the board, the service people were like, there were no more courteous, polite, and sincere kids than the Villanova basketball team. And it starts with their coach.
You know, I feel like recently you could say this, that Purdue's been built the right way. They kind of act the right way. I'd say Villanova is that North Star, though. They are just, a tick above with what they've had from a success standpoint and what Jay Wright has recruited there. They are just so sound, so solid. I can't wait for that matchup with Houston on Saturday. Again, Houston beats Arizona 72-60. I don't know how you simulate Houston. I don't know how you simulate the relentless nature that
you
they
play
play
Memphis.
With
that's
for
how
40 minutes. But again, that's a team in their conference. Jake,
I know that's what I mean. Yeah,
it's just hard to replicate what they are. And I think it was a big reason why they had that run last year. And Baylor was equally as tough. In a way, I think this Villanova team has some Baylor tendencies from last year. So getting you set for tonight, Purdue St. Mary's, 7:09 on CBS.
St. Peter's.
St. Peter's. Thank you, Mark. 9:39, and these are estimates.
Mark was quick on the draw on that.
Well, he knows how Purdue, Indiana fans have gone back and forth today.
I'm being told there's no St. Peter's football team, which doesn't really surprise me, considering the stories we've heard about their basketball program.
There's 2,000 students in the school, and they don't have a football team.
I don't think Villanova has a football team, do they?
I don't believe so.
Doesn't the Big East not have Division I football?
I think that's right. Yeah.
But they still have a team, probably.
Well, Villanova has a football team, I guess.
Oh, yeah, Brian Westbrook went there.
Did he really?
Little Eagles scat back. North Carolina, UCLA, 9:39. And then the Midwest region from the United Center, Kansas and Providence at 7:29. And Miami and Iowa State, 9:59. Do you think there's been to to have two Power 5 programs match up in the Sweet 16, do you think there's ever been less attention around a game than Miami, Iowa State?
Well, like I said, the Weather Channel's all in.
Cantori, you said, is the sideline reporter.
Jim Cantori doing sidelines, yep. Cyclones and hurricanes and guaranteed court storm.
IU women tomorrow, Sweet 16. They've got UConn in the Bridgeport region at 2 o'clock. Notre Dame will take on number 1 NC State in that same region. That is at 11:30. We talked a little high school basketball earlier. The state finals tomorrow for the boys. North Davies, Lafayette Central Catholic, the Class A game. The 2A game, Central Noble and Providence. The 3A game, Beech Grove, Mishawaka Marion. And the 4A game, Cathedral and Chesterton.
Have we heard from Scotty?
We have not. No.
We're worried?
Maybe he's a Purdue fan that's boycotting.
Scotty Downstone usually comes in about now with a pop quiz and opens up his laptop and gets very serious.
You know, Jake, disliking the Peacock sounds is one thing. Thinking that we are making fun of Purdue by continuing playing the Peacock sounds, you know, come on now.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I'm not trying to rip Bill anymore, but like,
listen,
it's a 15 seed that's a fun story nationally.
And Mark's played the Peacock sound endlessly since the start of the tournament. Mark was playing it before St. Peter's played a game.
Here's a fair point, and I want to address it real quick. Jake, the main difference with the Purdue coverage is that we still hear more IU talk than Purdue, or at least similar coverage. Why bring up IU for lengthy periods or even at all? They weren't relevant this year. Focus on Purdue during the rest of the tourney. That is a totally fair point. Totally fair point, and the answer is simple as this. It's about relatability. And I know that sounds crazy and unfair to Purdue, but for example, I grew up as a kid whose parents, my mom spent a semester in Bloomington. My dad went to Indiana Central for a semester. I did not really have any familial connection to Indiana University. But as a kid, before I knew different, I rooted for Indiana because when I saw their jerseys, I knew that that's where I lived. And when I saw a T-shirt that said Indiana, I'm like, well, that's where I live. So I was a Walmart Indiana fan. I got a T-shirt from Walmart that said Indiana on it. But if you look at statistically speaking in this state for that reason, people that did not have an academic connection to either school were more prone to root for Indiana just because of the name of the school. And so therefore, there is a larger contingency of fans that root for Indiana than Purdue. In addition to that, Purdue, an outstanding academic institution in specified esoteric areas that draws their graduates out of the state more so than Indiana graduates. And so you have a larger alumni base of Indiana fans. So if we are a delicatessen, and 7 out of 10 people that come in here ask us for turkey, and 3 out of 10 ask us for pastrami, even during pastrami month, we better have turkey available because 7 out of 10 people are still asking for it versus the pastrami. That is the answer, and I totally get where Purdue fans are coming from, but believe it or not, there is actual business relevance for us towards the way it is distributed.
And that was well said, Jake. I also think we've done a pretty fair job of giving Purdue the credit they deserve.
Of course.
Throughout this season.
Boiler up. You see me at my gym, I'm wearing my Play Hard Purdue basketball shorts.
And you know what, Jake? To pour salt in the wound on this conversation a little bit more, how about one more name in the transfer portal for Indiana? You've hinted at this all week long. Rob Fennessy. Hey, he's a Lafayette native, so we're talking about a little bit of both there, right?
That's correct. So that just came out?
Yeah, Rob Fennessy in the transfer portal just announced here.
So I'd said earlier this week.
So they're now down
Durr,
12.
Fennessy, and Lander. And those three have put their name in along with Parker Stewart, right?
Correct. Okay. So that's where things are at right now. But Purdue fans, be happy because instead of talking about the transfer portal, your team is actually playing for a trip to go to the Elite Eight. We'll talk more about that, give our picks to round out the show. But right now, it is pop quiz time on Freebie Friday, 317-239-1070. Give us a call. Pop quiz time next.
Skip the long lines and high cost at the banks and get pre-approved today for your next home purchase or a refinance at thehomeloanexpert.com. NMLS number 1326241.
If you love listening to our shows, then you've got to follow us on our social media. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Search 1075 The Fan and share your opinions with us on our posts.
Sign up for Lowe's MVP's Pros Awards and Partnership Program to help level up your business. Program subject to terms and conditions, valid through 12/31/22. See Lowe's.com/L/Pro Loyalty Terms. Subject to change.
We buy any car. We buy any car. We buy any car. Any.
Did you know trading in your car at a dealer could cost you money?
A recent study found consumers who trade in their car pay an average of $990 more. So don't trade in. Sell it to We Buy Any Car. Learn more and get your free online valuation now at WeBuyAnyCar.com.
Find out how much your car's worth at We Buy Any Car.
A direct diamond importer. What does that even mean? And why should you care? Well, if you're looking for a beautiful diamond at the best value, you will care, and you'll want to come to Shane Company. We travel to the diamond capitals of the world to hand-select the prettiest natural diamonds. Because we eliminate all middlemen and their markups, we have the most beautiful diamonds at the best possible value. Since we pay cash up front and buy thousands of diamonds, the stonecutters give us first pick of their best stones at the best price. For 4 generations, we've been directly importing our diamonds from ethical sources, buying only the most beautiful diamonds in each quality grade and passing those savings on to our customers. At Shane Company, you'll always get the best value on the most beautiful diamond. Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and Shaneco.com.
Jake Query here. Recently I returned to college to finish my degree, and I encourage you to join me. Whether you're like me and life simply got in the way, or you never went to college at all, Indiana offers financial assistance for those ready to move forward. If I can do it, I know you can too. If you're looking for a better job or doing it for your family, Indiana has grants to pay for over 150 certificates in high-wage industries. You're sure to find a tuition-free option that fits you. To apply, visit nextleveljobs.org today. Sponsored by the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. That's nextleveljobs.org.
The Fed has raised rates, but it's not too late for you.
There's still time to lock in Golden Oak Lending's low 2.875% rate.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak, and I urge you to call now. With home values at all-time highs and Golden Oak Lending's low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home.
Call 317-706-GOLD today to get a free mortgage checkup and find out how much cash you can get. It's more than you think.
That's right. Plus, Golden Oak still has millions of dollars available at near record low rates, and you can skip 2 mortgage payments.
Lock in this low 2.875% rate. And if we can't close your loan, the appraisal is no charge. Call 317-706-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing cured my blues.
NMLS 114937, 2.875% fixed, 3.976% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
The Ride with JMV.
I think we were all skeptical about how the Colts were going to get out of this quarterback situation. Also, Chris Ballard is just cleaning up a mess that the Colts made. This is what happened when the owner wants only 1 year from Carson Wentz. But I will say this, they made the best out of what was a messy situation. They think they can win the AFC South with Matt Ryan. We'll see.
The Ride with JMV.
Weekdays 3 to 6.
On 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan. Have you studied? Can you handle the pressure? Sharpen your pencils. It's time for the Pop Quiz with Kevin and Query. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, Indiana's favorite oil change since 1985.
Scotty Johnston has worked his way into the studio. He is wearing a game-worn Keith Moreland Padres jersey. He even has the... Scotty, how many hats do you own? Seriously. Well, guesstimate it. 300 hats. Okay. Do you have them like in a hat rack? Okay. Scotty lives, by the way.
Freezer.
Scotty lives at the Lids at the old Lafayette Square.
Yeah, exactly. He's got one of those pods that he just puts all those hats in. Did Bill call in for the pop quiz, Mark?
No.
No?
No, unfortunately. Probably heard the Peacock sounds and went running.
Looks like a heavy college basketball pop quiz here, and then, of course, a little hockey to end things. It wouldn't be a pop quiz without that this week. Jake, number 1 through 8.
Purdue's trying to get to the Final Four, so we'll go with number 4.
Big Play Ray.
Big Play Ray. Is this Mr. Buchanan?
No, it's not.
That's a great, do you call yourself Big Play Ray, or is that a nickname given to you by your friends?
The latter, yes.
Nice. Why?
I tend to come up big in the big moments, but the hockey thing's going to kill me here today.
All right. Well,
now wait a minute. You come up big in the big moments. What was the biggest moment where you arrived, Ray? Like what is when you look at it? Your biggest moment was when?
There are so many, it's hard to say.
I like that.
This is one of the more confident callers.
I don't want to say too much because Kevin will give me hell because I think he knows me.
Okay. Ray, are you a native of Indianapolis?
I am.
And you attended what high school?
I attended Southport. My kids are fighting Irish.
Is this Coach Ray?
Yeah. Yes, it is, Kevin.
Coach, great to hear from you.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for pulling my name.
You bet. I appreciate your Nyheim Hines question. And after all that talk, you got to back it up right here. You know, if one of your players talk like that, you'd be calling them out, saying, "All right, time to walk it."
You know, Esposito spent a lot of time on the bench for talking like that. You're right. I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Hey, Ray.
He was only walking with open shots. He wasn't walking if he had to put the ball on the floor.
What year at Southport?
81.
Okay. North Central was eliminated from the IHSAA tournament by Southport my senior year, but that was 10 years after you. Marlon Fleming and William Moore and that group. William Moore actually was the year before me, but they had some good players, man. Shaka Lands had some good players.
All right, Ray.
Yeah, William had about 22 in the first half against Dana
He
Bailey.
did, man. At the Dome, he was on fire. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Ray, good luck to you. Appreciate you calling in. Jake, throw number one at him.
By the way, where did William Moore play in college, Ray? That's not your first question, but do you know?
You know, I know his son Jalen went to Oakland, but I can't remember where William played. And
it's a good player, really good player.
Yeah, I think I'm going to not say anything there.
All right, fair enough. We'll leave it at that.
It was an issue. That's okay. Yeah.
Okay, he was a good player, though. Okay, Arkansas eliminated number 1 Gonzaga from the NCAA tournament last night. The Razorbacks also beat top-ranked Auburn during the regular season. Who was the last team to knock off the AP number 1 in the tournament, as well as the AP number 1 during the regular season of the same season? A, Purdue did it. B, Villanova. C, Ohio State. Or D, Arkansas is the first team to accomplish the feat?
Wow, that was a lot.
Let's just say it's unprecedented.
We'll go with Arkansas then.
Okay.
Boom, Coach Ray, good start. Gonzaga's made 5 NCAA tournament appearances as a number 1 seed and has not won a title in those 5 seasons. One other school has been a 1 seed 5 times and not won. Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Houston, Auburn.
And it feels like it has to be Oklahoma.
All right.
Question number 3. Duke's win over Texas Tech last night was the 100th NCAA tournament win for Mike Krzyzewski, which extends his record. Which coach, who happens to look a lot like Tim Conway, is second on the list for most NCAA tournament game wins? A, Dean Smith. B, Jim Boeheim. C, Roy Williams. Or D, John Calipari?
Man, I know the answer is Boeheim, but the Tim Conway thing is a little stretch.
Doesn't really help. They all look like
Tim
Conway.
We're going to go Boeheim on that one.
Okay.
All right, number 4, the Pacers lost to Memphis last night, Ray, to fall to 25-49 on the year. Who was the coach of the Pacers the last time the blue and gold lost 50 games in a season? A, Jim O'Brien. B, Dick Versace. Versace's a little foreign.
He had the same hair as Versace, but it was Dick Versace.
C, Jack Ramsey. D, George Irvine.
Irvin. Not to be confused with Julius.
I'm torn.
I don't know if I would have gotten this.
Post-brawl.
Okay. Could you run through the 4 choices one more time, please?
Show's over at 10. Jim O'Brien, Dick Versace, Jack Ramsey, or George Irvin?
That's really post-brawl.
Well, then it had to be O'Brien.
Okay. On this day in 1982, Wayne Gretzky, who began his hockey career, of course, with the Indianapolis Racers, became the first player in NHL history to reach the 200-point mark in a single season. The 200-point mark has since been done 3 more times. Name an NHL player other than Gretzky to accomplish the feat.
Man, the only one I know is Mario Lemieux, and I don't know if he did it or not.
Boy, that's a hell of a guess. Are you going with him?
I have to because my hockey knowledge is almost nothing.
Okay, that's fair.
Well, that's a help. Again, Freebie Friday, Ray, so stay on the line. But that is, right, Scotty, the closest guest? All right, the last team to beat number 1, AP number 1 in the tournament and the regular season. Indeed, the Razorbacks the first to do it.
Now, is that the Razorback or the guy, Mark?
That's the guy, the Razorback.
No Razorback was harmed during the
fourth grade watching a dinosaur movie.
Question number 2, Gonzaga has made the NCAA tournament as the number 1 seed and not won a title in the 5 seasons. The other school to do that, Oklahoma.
That is correct.
Now, question number 3 is where things got a little awry. Tim Conway looks the most like A. Dean Smith, B. Jim Boeheim, C. Roy Williams, or D. John Calipari. You think he looks like Jim Boeheim?
I'd say Roy Williams.
I would have gone with Boeheim. That's just me.
You think Jim Boeheim looks like Tim Conway?
How many of our listening audience know who Tim Conway is?
Well, that's true.
Hey,
Roy Williams was the correct answer.
Ray was all over it, though.
I know, but Roy Williams was correct. You blew it! But it's Freebie Friday, Ray. Stay on the line. Jim O'Brien.
You don't get to come back tomorrow. You don't even get a lousy copy of our home game. You're a complete loser.
By the way, Wayne Gretzky, the only hockey player to do it. Mario Lemieux did get 199 points in the 89 season.
Couple sneaky ones there, Scotty J. Couple sneaky ones there up his sleeve.
Scotty is so proud of himself. It is Freebie Friday.
All right, one more time here on Kevin and Query. We'll come back, give our Purdue picks, our other Sweet 16 picks as well to cap the week. You're listening right here on 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Bowling, 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 keep them balls a-rolling. Bowling, 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 Royal Pin.
Are you looking to stay cool this summer and have fun with your family and friends? Call Royal Pin Entertainment at 465-8484 to join a summer league today. Summer leagues are fun and affordable and last only a short time. If you're going to bowl this summer, bowl at a Royal Pin Entertainment Center. Call 465-8484 or go to royalpin.com to join a league today. Grab your friends and stop in your favorite Royal Pin Entertainment Center for open play. Reserve your lanes by the hour at royalpin.com. Come bowling this summer and have the time of your life. Call 465-8484 or go to royalpin.com.
Royal Pin, bowling, bowling. Royal Pin, bowling. Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Reinhardt Heating and Cooling. Owner Danny Reinhardt says putting his kids in charge of more of the day-to-day operations of the business was the plan all along.
It makes me really proud that I know that I can turn it over to my family and they can take care of things, and I've got all the confidence in the world in them, and that's the legacy I'm proud to leave.
A great family-owned business, Reinhardt Heating and Cooling, 317-745-4526. Reinhardt's your trusted local independent American Standard dealer.
Protect yourself against upsets this March with Bracket Parlay Insurance on FanDuel Sportsbook. Hey, it's Mark from Kevin and Query. Right now, all customers can get up to $25 back each day if your parlay of 3 legs or more falls 1 leg short. Parlays are great because they can turn a small bet into a big-time payday. I fell 1 leg short of hitting a 4-leg parlay yesterday as Duke beat Texas Tech. Oh, Coach K, you killed me. But because I had parlay insurance, I got my wager back in full. I love betting on FanDuel because of stuff like Parlay Insurance, plus the app is safe, secure, and easy to use. And when you win, you get your winnings in as little as 2 hours. If you're new to FanDuel, sign up with promo code MARK, then you can bet the bracket all tournament long. That's promo code MARK on the FanDuel Sportsbook app, MARC, 21 and over and present in Indiana. If exactly 1 leg loses, refund issued as knowledgeable site credit that expires in 7 days. NCAA Tournament, SBK wager required. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson from Thompson Furniture Mattress in Columbus. Save 50% on Indiana-made Smith Brothers of Bern, Lazy Boy, and Flex Steel with extra discounts for cash. Low price guarantee with up to 4 years interest-free financing on every mattress by Tempur-Pedic and Stearns & Foster. All outdoor furniture by Berlin Gardens and Collywood is 30% off. Sale ends Monday only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus with free delivery.
You know, many people my age who went to college, they'll do something great in the future. But I'm doing something great now.
If you like seeing what you accomplish every day, why not make that your career instead of a desk job?
I know a lot of people without any direction. Well, my direction is up while I help build this high-rise.
Your training is free, so you learn while you earn.
My friends finished their degree in 4 years. That's about what it took for us to finish laying down about a dozen new roads.
Careers as a union laborer are rewarding and ready now. As a member of Laborers Local 120, you'll earn good pay and benefits with lots of job choices.
I do pipeline work. I'm a concrete finisher.
I lay miles and miles of asphalt.
This is Ward Daniels, business manager of Laborers Local 120. Joining us can lead to a satisfying career for you or someone you know.
So join us.
Join us. Join us.
We are now accepting qualified apprentices and journeymen. Visit labors120.com to apply.
The Fed has raised rates.
But there's still time to lock in Golden Oak Lending's low 2.875% rate.
I'm James Hawkins, president of Golden Oak. With home values at all-time highs and our low rates, you can pull more cash out of your home.
Call 317-706-GOLD today.
Golden Oak Lending.
NMLS 114937, 2.875% fixed, 3.976% APR. FHA 15-year mortgage with 20% equity and approved credit.
The Pacers head north of the border to take on the Toronto Raptors. Tomorrow night at 7 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You're listening to Kevin and Query on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Now you can bet, Kevin, Purdue is still alive on Monday.
Did Bill break in the studio?
If Purdue is alive on Monday, baby, it is nothing but this all week.
I do love a good train sound.
Oh, yeah.
Is the drum going to be in the building tonight? Do they bring the drum to basketball games?
Where was it where the drum wasn't allowed this year?
Oh, yeah, they couldn't fit it through the tunnel. It's so just stupid by Notre Dame.
That's right.
That's what she said.
That was stupid by Notre Dame?
Oh, that they couldn't fit it in the tunnel. Come on, Kev. Get with the program.
Well, come on, you.
Get with the program.
Well, hang on.
Just ridiculous.
That's what she said.
Unbelievable by Mark.
And Kevin has kicked us off the air. Oh my God,
Paul, you want to talk Purdue IU?
I don't think I can even isolate that to ever play it again, Kevin.
Do we still have jobs?
No.
Okay.
God.
When does Duke Tomato come on? Okay.
Oh my God.
Paul, you got an opinion on Purdue and IU?
Yeah, I do. But Kevin, how could you not get that?
No. It's been a rough week for me, Paul.
Get your damn act together.
Hey, Paul, what are you doing Monday? You want to do a radio show?
Nah, Paul's got to work. Paul's got to work.
Paul, where do you work? Just out of curiosity.
I called you the other day. I'm a mailman.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You just sound like a fun guy, Paul.
I'm a very fun guy.
Yeah. Okay. Just out of curiosity, what's your main zip code?
46234, Claremont.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's. You ever deliver on Louise Avenue?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Yeah, my grandparents lived many, many years on Louise Avenue. Anyway,
what are the odds of that?
That's right.
Oh, Paul, save me, man.
So, co-host Paul, what's on your mind?
I don't know how you can ask us IU fans to cheer for Purdue, because as a true blue Hoosier, that can never happen. For the simple fact, all the times IU won, you think for a moment those Purdue fans were wishing we won? Heck no. They were wishing that we would have lost. And when IU went through all that turmoil with Bobby Knight and Mike Davis pulled that team together and led them to the championship, there was no Purdue fans saying, man, I'm so impressed with what they were doing. They were still hoping IU lost because they were true Boilermakers. So as a Hoosier fan, I respect what they're doing and how they built their team, but I would never, ever, ever cheer for Purdue in a game. Never. Even if they play Kentucky, because my hatred for both teams runs very deep. So no way in heck would a true Hoosier cheer for the Boilermakers.
I do hate
love
Kentucky.
fandom. Paul,
Paul, let me ask you this.
I love that answer so much.
Paul, if you had your choice and you could limit or prohibit one of two programs from ever again going to the Final Four, would you pick Purdue or Kentucky?
Let's say, you say ever again?
Yeah.
Or for the rest of my life?
Ever again. You get to kick a bottle, a genie comes out and says, you can name one college basketball program, and I will prohibit them from ever going to the Final Four. Would you pick Purdue or Kentucky as an Indiana fan?
I would pick Purdue.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think that's right.
I'm telling you, during my childhood, I hated Kentucky far more than I hated Purdue.
I understand that, but see, you have to understand that here in Indiana, we have some Kentucky fans, but then you have the Purdue fans when they're doing good that like to talk yap, and all you have to say to them is how many championships you have.
Right,
and
I
they
get it.
Shut up.
I get it.
I would rather see Purdue never make it, so they will always be IU's little B.
Oh, jeez. Paul, little B. Paul, stay warm today. Have a great
Well, I'm updating my LinkedIn resume after Kevin's kerfuffle.
Oh, man. God.
Listen, I had nothing
rough.
to do with any of that. I was nothing more than an innocent bystander. I would like for MS Communications to know that the new guy here
Are we
had
tied at the
nothing to
hip
do
or no?
with
The
any
views
of that.
expressed by Kevin Bowen do not reflect those of Jake Query and Mark Dykton and Scotty Johnson.
Are we Ryan Grigson and Chuck Pagano or not?
Boy, here I am, unemployed again. Oh, God.
I mean, wow.
I love Paul's energy always with his calls. You imagine him on mail route just.
I will say, Paul
fired
was
up.
the absolute perfect person to call in that moment.
Oh, absolutely perfect. Do you think Purdue fans agree, or IU fans would agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like we've got a bunch of Kentucky
It's a rivalry.
fans
I
calling
get it.
into the program.
Well, and the Indiana-Kentucky rivalry's dead now. I mean, because they don't play each other annually, and Kentucky's owned it, right? I mean, Indiana has become to Kentucky what Indiana takes pride in Purdue being to Indiana.
Well, that's the thing, Jake. When they don't play, how can there be a rivalry, really?
Right. I mean, I'm telling you, like, back in my day, but that rivalry at the Dome and then at Freedom Hall, I mean, it was awesome.
On Monday, are we talking about Purdue in the Final Four?
I mean, we're going to be talking about Purdue and the Final Four regardless, right? Yeah, I say yes. This is the year they break through.
But you've pointed to this Carolina-UCLA matchup a lot.
I mean, it's those two teams worry me, man. I just, if you go to North Carolina or UCLA, and I'm not saying this isn't the case with Purdue, don't misquote me here. But if you go to North Carolina or UCLA, you go to those schools because you expect to play in a Final Four. And I know that Purdue does too, don't get me wrong. But there is just the pressure that comes with an Elite Eight matchup and everything that goes into it. You know that pressure from the second you arrive on the campus of those two other schools. And I think it's a factor. And I just think, Carolina's, you're right, they're not very deep, but they've got some great, they have good talent. I mean, Purdue does too, don't get me wrong.
I think these Purdue kids, though, Jake, have been brought up in that, guys, this is Final Four or the season's a failure. I mean, I know that sounds a bit harsh, but I think this Purdue class, from Stefanovic and Williams and Hunter, experiencing what happened against Virginia, this has been what they've been working towards their entire time there. And, I mean, let's be honest, Jaden Ivey's not coming back.
Right.
So, I'm curious what that pressure will feel like, because no matter who wins, while UCLA and North Carolina have more of the blue blood and more of the NCAA tournament history, Purdue's got more pressure on them if and when that matchup does come Sunday.
I mean, we nailed it yesterday. We absolutely nailed it. Do we have that audio again, Mark? Can we play it one more time? Not from 10 minutes ago, but from the end of the show yesterday.
Mercifully.
The end of the show
That audio will never see the light of day ever again, I don't think.
The end of show yesterday, superior to the end of the show today. But this is how we ended the show yesterday. Arkansas shocks the world.
Whoa. Jake, tell me more.
Woo, pig suey. Arkansas shocks the world.
God, I love Villanova. It is a 1-point spread, Arizona. We got 20 seconds. Mark?
Houston wins.
There's a 1C going down for Mark. And we didn't record that at 6:55 this morning, right? To play on the show.
Right.
Fred goes, I'm a Purdue fan. I agree with Paul's sentiments and wouldn't expect anything else. Jake Paul is why we have jobs.
That's right.
Passionate fandom. I absolutely love it, and I would think the reverse would be true. All right, let's save Purdue St. Peter's last. Let's begin with the second game tonight. Kansas, Providence. The last line I saw was around 7. Kansas favored there. Mark, you like the Jayhawks big, right?
I do. I this is me getting crazy with my $25 parlay on FanDuel, but yeah, I boosted up to minus 10.5. Wow. So I think Kansas rolls.
Jake, you rock chalking it like that much?
There's going to be a surprise somewhere here. I can't see.
Well, this is the only other surprise. The other two games are pick 'em, unless you're picking St. Peter's.
I think Providence is going to give them a better game than people think. I do, but I'll go with Kansas.
Kansas by 5. I think Providence will cover that. All right, North Carolina and UCLA. What is it? 2 points? Is that
UCLA's favored by 2.
UCLA favored by 2.
I'll take Carolina. No, I'm sorry. I'll take UCLA.
Pick a lane, man.
I'm going UCLA.
Same, UCLA. Which means that North Carolina is going to win now that we all took UCLA.
Right. Is that the Duke Texas Tech we did?
Yeah.
Yesterday. Okay, the nightcap in the Midwest, Miami and Iowa State. Jake, you said Jim Cantori on the sideline.
That's right.
For that one, Hurricanes or Cyclones, 1.5?
No, minus 3.5 Miami.
3.5.
Miami wins that game. This is the easiest one to pick. Miami wins that game. Iowa State's not good. I know they beat Wisconsin. Iowa State's not good. Miami wins.
For my pick's sake, I've got Iowa State covering the 3.5.
So you think really competitive.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Miami money line. I don't know about that one. Okay, Purdue St. Peter's, about 30 seconds to go. 12.5 point spread.
It's up to 13 now.
Boy, it's growing. 13.
Boilers don't cover, but they win. That's all that matters.
Same.
Boiler up.
Same. St. Peter's gives them a tougher matchup, but they cover.
Yeah, I think St. Peter's hangs around for a while, but Purdue is able to establish themselves. And I think Purdue goes to the Final Four. I think we are talking about Purdue in the Final Four.
Be great.
On Monday. All right, everybody, thank you for listening. Oh, jeez. Praise the Lord.
If we're here Monday, we look forward to talking to you.
If not, you can find me on LinkedIn. Kevin Bowen, Jake Query, Mark Dykton signing off. Everybody have a